we here?
I think we're here.
Are we live?
Yeah. Wait, pull it up.
Are we live?
Oh, we're live.
We are live. So watch your mouth.
Welcome to the stream. No.
Yeah, this is our first episode of the NONP.
I just got a notification.
Oh,
Nothing
that
notes live.
Oh, great.
Wow.
Oh, someone rang their bell.
Oh, nice job.
Someone did not.
Wow. Well, episode 1.
Yeah.
This is something we've been wanting to do for a while.
Hey,
And we're here. Hey. Oh, hi, Sarah.
How's it sound?
Hey. How does it sound?
How does it sound?
Does it sound good? Is it echoey?
Is it echoey?
I
The
just
way
want
you
to find
s-
this stuff out.
Yeah,
I
no,
don't
I
have
agree.
another monitor where I can check it myself.
I know, it feels
Right.
weird that I don't see a monitor right now because I'm used to videoing reaction videos.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a completely different
It feels
setup.
weird.
If you look at me, it'll.
Yeah, it works. It works.
Yeah, but I have to look at you then.
I shaved. I made it easier.
No, you gave more of your face to show.
All right,
Just kidding, I
sounds
love
good
you.
so far. All right, we're good.
We got Mano in the box.
Mano in the box.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Eli. And we're nothing of note.
We are nothing of note. We should have probably said that at the beginning. but it's
Well,
fine. It's
I
fine.
did. I said
I'm
nothing
gonna
of
say
note
no.
live.
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
No, I'm saying we should have said our name.
Yeah, we
Oh.
should have.
It's fine.
It's not.
It's not.
Well, here's
No.
the thing. We don't get to edit our intros anymore. So
That's true. So we
Yeah,
just gotta.
everyone just gets to see the chaos.
Oh no.
Anywho.
All right.
We are going to cover some topics today that we've talked about a little bit. What we've not talked about, but rather discuss what we wanted to talk about.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah. What's
What's a good starting
first
point?
on the agenda?
I think you should
You're the man
roll
in the
for
chair.
it.
Oh, okay.
Whoever rolls higher starts the...
All right. Let's see.
Or you can decide who goes.
I got 15. Let's roll.
I got an 8.
All right.
Dude, I get to decide.
I mean, I think
I
with
think you
what
get
we
to
just
decide.
did, I feel like it makes so much sense.
Oh yeah, we should definitely go
Yeah.
straight into D&D. stuff
Yeah, I
here,
just
so-
rolled for it.
Yeah, I mean that's true. That's true. So do you
I
want
didn't-
to talk about D&D history, our D&D history, personal D&D history, or do we want to
Well,
talk about the community right now?
I'd say we talk about the community right now. Just
Yeah, I
get it
think
out of
we
the
should,
way.
too.
I didn't roll natural one, but we know someone who did.
Right.
Wizards
Watsy,
of the
or-
Coast.
Good old Watsy.
So, Mano,
What's up?
why don't you start us off? Give us your thoughts on this, because obviously we all know that the D&D community is like outraged by Wizards of the Coast passing this.
Well, not passing,
Or
but
trying to
the
pass.
leak of a updated OGL.
OGL, yeah.
Oh, became
And it was a leak, to be clear.
Right.
On that.
Yeah.
I did see something that said that they like purposely leaked it and that they always meant to do that because they wanted to get feedback, which I think is total crap.
Yeah, I think that is bullcrap. Basically, it just kind of seems like, I don't know. To me, I don't get a lot of the outrage because I don't know. It's just like some companies do it, like some gaming companies, like Epic Games. They release their game engine, and you can work on it that way, and they have royalty contract and everything set up with it. Same with like YouTube and Twitch. Once you become a partner and stuff like that, there are things that go with this, right? I think, in my opinion, their original OGL is almost too free for the modern market,
Mhm.
but at the same time, you know, switching from something that they've had since 2000 seems a little, I guess, off-putting for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I'm excited because at the moment it was leaked, everyone was saying, you know, like new systems got announced and everything. Like not everything's a D&D or a 5th edition clone.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And without that, we wouldn't get that. I don't think, because
Right.
people like to be a little lazy. You know?
Yeah.
I definitely do.
That's definitely my biggest takeaway is like the creative energy that was injected into the community is great. Everyone's like, oh, well, now I need to, this idea I've had in the back, now I actually need to put it out because this is the right moment to do it. And like, it's just motivated people. I'm a big fan of 5th edition. I really enjoyed
Yes.
the simplicity, and like there's a lot of aspects of it I really like. And sometimes I myself am a little lazy to
That's
learn
why I
a new
like it,
system.
yeah.
And I'm like, I want to learn some of these other systems anyways.
Yeah.
I think I bought Mutants and Mastermind like 6 years ago,
No.
which is a superhero
Mhm.
RPG. And like I bought like the digital books and did nothing with it.
Yeah.
Like I looked at it a little bit, but I never learned how to play or got a group together. And like games like that, I think it would be fun, especially in like my circles, like just expanding our systems.
Yeah. I mean, we played. Is it called Fate? That we played before.
We played the Fate
Which
system
I actually
very briefly.
really enjoyed that, and I would
Yeah.
love to do that again sometime.
We should definitely do that again. That
I
lends
really
itself
enjoyed
to
Fate.
so many different. Like 5th edition is very fantasy, but you've got all these other systems that are.
Well, it was fun.
Open.
When we played Fate. We played. I believe we played the one time we played on Halloween, Mano, and Nick made a story of it was all we played ourselves in the town that we lived in.
Yeah.
It's just that there was like werewolves and all these things, and like there was like some crazy thing that happened, and it was like a Halloween. It was like Stranger Things for us.
Yeah,
We got to play ourselves, and we had like innate abilities that started to come out. It was really fun.
So there was the Fate system was actually when we played a Star Wars game with the Fate system.
Oh, okay.
The one you're talking about, I forget what it's called, but it's a single page RPG. So all the rules are condensed down to a page.
Oh, okay.
And it's super simplified.
You used a D6 for everything.
Yeah, you use the D6 for everything. And that's cool. But yeah, and then the next year after that, we played Dread, which uses a Jenga tower, and that is a very fun system that builds tension because we played Halloween games 2 years in a row. I want to get back to that because that's fun, but
try a new system every year or something, you know.
But we've kind of shifted a little bit off of the OGL.
Yeah,
I don't know if you want to go back to that.
I guess
But-
the point that we were all
Right.
making is that it's going to open up the door for people to not be so lazy and try other things.
Yeah, but I mean, Wizards of the Coast released a statement yesterday, right? And so it is kind of that. I think they got. When all did they get rid of?
I know they changed the royalty a lot,
They did.
like a lot.
Yeah, I did not see that.
Apparently, some people are saying that it's not really changed that much, but I read. It's hard because I wasn't able to find the 2.0 to read through really. So I don't know how much they've changed. I've just heard rumors more than anything.
The 2.0 hadn't been leaked. This is just
Right,
reports
that's what I
coming
meant.
from
Right.
Wizards of the Coast.
Right. I know that they said a statement that I saw one spot where they said they weren't going to do royalties at all, but I don't know if that's true or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me do some quick.
The one thing I will say about the 1.0 or whatever you want to call it is I do think that 25 or 20%, depending on if it's a Kickstarter or not, is too high. I think it needs to be lower.
Yeah.
Because I did just run the math and like
Yeah.
I like on average, I looked this up. On average, a business like on average, which obviously that's from lowest to highest, but a business has like a 7 to 10% profit margin.
Yeah, and that's
So if you take that into consideration, that puts people out of business.
yeah.
Yeah, 25% is ridiculous.
Well, the issue is when we talk about profit margins on businesses, we're already like profit is not gross revenue.
Right.
Right. So royalties for whatever business that is have already been taken out. Profit is what you make.
Right.
Right. So like book
And
companies, if they operated on a 5% profit margin, they've already covered their royalties.
Right.
Like
Right.
that's a part of their operating expense.
Right.
So I don't know if it's. I think it is too high.
Well, but
when you
if
look at
you're-
royalties for other things,
Yeah.
But they're not taking out the profit. They're taking out the revenue. So you got
they're
to
taking
take
out of gross revenue,
Yeah.
which is the way it should be. Like I was saying,
Right.
profit is outside of your operating expense.
What his point was if these companies have been acting this way with a 5 to 10% profit margin, and then you suddenly put 25%
Yeah.
royalty. added in there. Now they're losing money
then
or
it adjusts,
maybe
and
breaking
they have
even,
to make a lot of adjustments
Yeah, I
to make
mean-
that work.
But
or
any-
sell their stuff for more.
any new way you go for it, if Wizards of the Coast is actively trying to either protect their IP or I gotta take this off because I'm hearing so much like not echo, but it's just messing with the way I
Yeah.
talk because I'm hearing myself at the same time. No, but it's just like if they're trying to protect their IP or if they're trying to limit the amount of games that come off of their system, like the amount of books and J-Day says hi. Hi.
Hi, J-Day.
Hi, J-Day.
So, shout out to J-Day for making this wonderful logo for Nothing of Note.
Oh, yeah.
Right here.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah.
I'm just shaving. But yeah, or limit the amount of games that are like going back to what I was saying. Like, look at the amount of books you go into like a tabletop RPG store, and find the amount of like books in that system, right? How many of them are you gonna pull out that don't say D&D but they say 5th edition,
Right.
or something like that?
Right.
Probably the majority of the section is just built off D&D's 5th edition, and they're all doing their own thing, making money off of someone else's system, which is fine because that's allowed to do. But I also don't have a problem with the company tightening down on that just a little bit.
Yeah,
It's not about crushing competition. It's about protecting their IP.
Yeah. I don't want them to do it. I'll say that. I don't want them to do it. But also, I get it.
Mm.
I do understand. I do think that 25 to 20% is too high.
Yeah.
Especially when you've operated for the last 23 years and you're making tons of money. Like, you don't have to do that much. I understand, like you said, protecting your IP.
Well,
but
yeah.
this needs to be a little lower,
And
I think.
What? Wizards of the Coast is a subsidiary of
Hasbro.
Hasbro, yeah.
And Hasbro made like what, a $1.8 billion revenue last year.
Yeah.
So
I think it was
it's
1.5.
not like they're hurting for it.
Exactly.
Is that echoing? We got a little echo.
Okay. Do we want to switch to one mic?
I think we should.
Yeah, we can
Yep.
just mute us and we'll use Nick's.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna switch our.
I'm gonna slide this behind. That should. You should still.
Can you hear me pretty well?
I can hear you pretty well. I can hear myself okay. I'm a little far, but it's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. If we had.
I'll just be sure to talk that
Yeah.
way.
Yeah. Shoot, what was I gonna say? Stupid echo. Oh! I did look up just because there is a certain point where a company, like, even though it's their company, like they have to do what what the people want in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if this number's gone up, but as I checked this morning, 67,000 people had signed like this petition called #OpenDnD.
Yeah.
And I would assume that all of those, because in that petition what they were supposed to do was unsubscribe from D&D Beyond.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming all of those people are in the master, because these are all people who are very serious and obviously so much about D&D that they're...
That's the quickest way to tell Wizards of the Coast that you're unhappy.
Yeah.
That's
Because
$402,000.
they see that immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
That's $402,000 annually.
when
Wow.
D&D Beyond
Yeah.
changed over, like, and Wizards of the Coast really put a grip on that, a lot of people left it too.
Right.
People leave for like the
Yeah.
silliest things sometimes too.
I don't get why
Like,
they would
I-
leave for that. But
Yeah, but I mean, I've played
Well, I
many
know.
games.
yeah, we'll talk about that.
I've played many games and like the smallest balance change would come through and people would just be like, "I'm done. The game's not what it used to be." You
Right.
know. And so I think there is a certain amount, like that number is huge, and so as a business you should definitely pay attention to that number.
Mhm.
But just because some people are loud and critical about it doesn't necessarily mean a company's going to do anything about
Right.
it. But
Yeah.
Wizards is doing something
Yeah,
right now.
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, this podcast is open to whatever. Well, not whatever, but
Lots of options.
yeah, if you want to ask questions or anything, please do.
Yeah.
Who's that?
It's J-Day.
So the main reason a lot of people left whenever Wizards of the Coast bought D&D Beyond is because they said if you make content on D&D Beyond, we can use that content.
Oh, that is
And that is part of the
that was
OGL.
yeah.
That is, if you make D&D 5e content or D&D
They have rights
content,
to it.
we can use that content.
And that's something I actually don't
So-
like either.
That's something from their article
Mhm.
that they got rid of.
Okay,
Like, that's
good.
not
Okay.
in their
'Cause-
OGL.
So when I told you
according to that.
when I told you yesterday that there's one thing I really didn't like about it, that was one of the
Right.
things.
That's-
I really didn't like that.
That is one thing.
That's
It's J-Day's making a class right now.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, if that gets put on D&D Beyond at all, then they can just
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like that sucks.
That's
sucks.
a part of D&D Beyond
But-
already.
Right.
And honestly, that's a part of a lot of things.
Yeah.
Like Unreal Engine, the thing I was talking about before. Like, you have open source engines that companies produce. But if you make stuff on it, there is a possibility that can be used by Epic Games.
Right.
Like, there is that thing.
Yeah.
So it's not unusual for a company to have that in their license agreements.
And like I do make quite a bit of homebrew stuff, but I'm also like, I don't know. I don't care if they take any of my
Right.
stuff. I'm just like,
You almost are
I'm
like,
making it
"That's
for
cool."
my game. I don't really care. Like, I'm not making it in a way that I would want to use it for anything.
Obviously, you
So-
wouldn't care if like, you know, you had a company where you were like
Exactly.
Obviously, then you're gonna care.
That's the very clear line
yeah,
there. Like,
and that's why we really are like probably don't
Yeah.
care so much because like it doesn't affect us.
it doesn't affect us, but I don't want that to be in there. I'm glad that.
Yes, I am
Yeah.
as well.
Can we move BB? He's like right in between Eli and the mic.
Oh, yeah.
So whatever sound bouncing off that, I wanted more
We'll pull
straight.
him back here. It's fine. It doesn't have to be behind.
Yeah.
Oh.
You can still leave that up here.
Speaking of Unreal Engine, by the way,
Mm.
this is one thing. So the updates that D&D Beyond are doing, they're using an Unreal Engine to where you can make battle maps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's essentially going to be like,
I'm excited for that.
yeah, that's going to be awesome. I saw that this morning. I'm pumped about that. That's going to be so cool if it works. Well, hopefully it
One
will.
thing with like the backlash that I've been worried about, and I've talked to some people about, our friend Loot Risk, he's worried about this, is if the backlash of this affects the movie, how bad that would be for the community.
Yeah.
Yeah. So literally, that was the question we just got.
Oh,
Ah,
oh,
that's amazing.
That's funny.
Well, there you go. You mind reader.
But yeah, so like if the movie gets affected by the OGL, that makes me mad because it's not just that one movie I care about. I care, like, we haven't gotten. I've been wanting a D&D movie for so long.
And they've tried for years, and it's never been.
I want this movie to be set up for success and not have something like that. If it fails on its own, it fails on its own.
Right.
Yeah.
But if this affects it, I'm not happy.
I agree.
I mean, that's a little unfair. It's kind of like when Henry Cavill got his new Superman gig revoked.
Yeah,
And then
that was
everyone
crazy.
was like, let's boycott the next Marvel movie because it's
Yeah.
the last one made by James Gunn.
Yeah, that's stupid.
That's stupid.
Yeah.
It's like it's not
It's kinda like
related
that.
to that at all. It's
Yeah.
just like
Yeah.
they take like that weird path, like, oh, I'm gonna get the director back.
Yeah.
People get spiteful. It's
Yeah.
sometimes.
I think it's
No
silly,
one's-
and I don't even know what to expect from this movie.
Have you seen the trailer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to know, like, is it just going to feel like video game movies? Because this is a tabletop
Right.
game movie. Video game movies typically suck.
Yes,
Typically.
but I feel like a tabletop movie is more catered to be like. I don't feel like it's gonna hit some of the same pitfalls. But also,
I feel like
I
it
don't know.
could.
there are some of this.
It's
As
not
I was
like
saying that, I was like, well, maybe.
There are something. I think the one thing is that you're not having to like have this. Like they tried to make Zelda movies in the past, and it's so bad. But like
Yeah.
you don't have like a storyline that you have to follow. You just have a world that you have to make this movie in.
Right.
So I think there are still pitfalls that could happen, but it's not as likely as it would be for like a video.
I wonder, like, how official they're going to be with it. Are they going to use, like, the official gods and stuff like that, and at least, like, keep that the same?
The
Or-
thing is,
I
there's
think
so many
they
gods,
well
though.
they,
Like,
they
yeah.
they're gonna use the official
Pantheon.
Far Realms or whatever.
Yeah.
I forget what it. But D&D is like official world.
Right,
And
things like that.
yeah, and that pantheon. So like, it's still like people who have played modules set in those worlds are gonna be able to recognize things. Like people like us, we haven't played.
Yeah,
I mean, Curse of Strahd, but that's not even in that world.
Right.
So like, the only module we've played is Curse of Strahd.
right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and every god I've ever used in my campaigns was either just based off of just random gods or based off of Critical Role. Like that's I've used theirs.
Just to complete the question, if the movie flops, what do you think that does for any future like D&D content?
It's gonna hurt it.
It's I mean, it's just like it sets us back another 10 years. I feel like, you know, like we had a D&D movie that was horrible in the past. I just I mean, there's that, and then there's just D&D's not cool again because we play it.
Right.
D&D is cool again because, I mean, honestly, Stranger Things.
Yep. 100%.
Like, Stranger Things brought it back to the forefront, and then young people wanted to play D&D. It wasn't just us people getting old, you know, being like, yeah, let's go play some D&D and be nerds in the corner over here.
Right.
I mean, Stranger Things essentially just like took a lot of the things from the 80s, and then all of a sudden it was just cool again. And
I mean,
D&D was one of the big ones that
and the amount of 80s songs that have become hits again.
Oh yeah.
Because of like Stranger Things. So I don't think D&D is popular because of D&D, and I think that's kind of the problem with the situation right now with Wizards of the Coast, because people don't care about Wizards of the Coast.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who probably have heard of D&D through Stranger Things that have tried it that have no clue who Wizards of the Coast even is. Yeah, they're definitely not the people that are unsubscribing from D&D Beyond.
Right.
Yeah, and then there's the and then we get a movie off it, and I'm worried about it because honestly, I don't feel like D&D stands on its own. It can only stand with the people who play it, in my opinion.
Right.
Which is, again, a problem with video game movies, is that they're typically tailored to people who play the video games. Like, one of the last movies that I enjoyed, video game movie, was like the Assassin's Creed movie. Went to see it with my parents at the time, and it was confusing for them. Because there's a lot of things that aren't explained in that movie that you're just expected to know by being a player of the Assassin's Creed games. So far, it was a good movie, but I had to explain to my mom, like, what was the Apple of Eden? Like, why do they care? Why are the Templars and Assassins fighting over this stupid thing? It's like, oh, because of this. And so I'm worried that a D&D movie will fall into that pitfall and kind of only be liked by the fans.
Maybe, but I don't know. I know it's slightly different because they're just so good at it, but like you could really say the same thing about superhero movies until recently. Marvel's really figured out how to make a good movie, but still tailored to the fans.
Superhero movies have always been a big thing, though. I mean, in the 80s, we had superhero movies, Superman, things like that. Score was written by John Wimp. Like, superhero movies have been a thing since the beginning. Now, some of the earliest movies have been like war movies, because the first time we really started getting motion picture, World War I just ended. You know, and they could make their stories about World War I, like All Quiet on the Western Front, things like that happened in like 1932 or 37. Like, there's reasons for these things standing on their own. I just don't know if D&D can pull it off, especially if it's not leaning on something like if they were making a Critical Role movie. I think that would be better than just D&D movie.
I think that the D&D movie is better than them just making a Critical Role movie, because all of the people who are going to watch a Critical Role movie are going to watch a D&D movie, and then there's more people who have only been exposed to it by like Stranger Things and stuff like that still haven't experienced it, but they're like, oh, that sounds cool, let's go watch that movie.
Or even people that don't listen to Critical Role that are big Dimension 20 fans.
I will say Critical Role did a big thing. Like, Stranger Things brought it into the light, and then Critical Role took it and ran.
I mean, Critical Role definitely.
Yeah, they definitely took it and ran. I mean, the amount of people who talk about it. I mean, I don't even watch it, but I've watched videos about.
We literally have a Critical Role poster right there.
I've watched videos about the drama that's happened in the Critical Role play sessions and things like that.
Right.
Like, I've watched videos on. I don't even watch Critical Role, and I hardly play D&D that much myself. Not that I don't want to,
right? But
it's just I've only got like 2 groups of people who actually want to play.
Hey,
it's me.
Hey,
she felt that way about the Dune movie.
Oh yeah,
that's funny.
I still haven't seen that.
I thought it was good. I liked it, but I didn't know anything about Dune.
I don't know anything about Dune.
I expect. I haven't watched the movie yet either. I watched the original movie, and I've read the book, and it's just kind of like I expect this movie to be more entertaining, because the original movie was so boring, and the book itself is so boring. Like, I don't want to be that guy. It's a great story,
right?
so boring.
And I do see what you're saying about that. I still enjoyed it a lot, the movie, but
I expect
just based off the movie
to be like exciting though.
Yeah, but it is still like I could see based off the movie the book being boring.
Yeah.
Not that I thought the movie was boring.
Yeah.
But I think I can see what you're saying. I've never read the book obviously, but I do want to say too that D&D, I feel like it has such a good potential. Like you should be able to make such a good movie out of it because like the whole like classic story D&D starting of, you know, oh, how do I get all these characters together? You're all in prison and you have to break out. It's overused so much and it's cliche, but at the same time, it's still so fun to do that at the beginning of a campaign.
Right.
Like it's just the party dynamic or the party group and all the different roles that you have in that group. It's just so fun. So it should be so easy. It's not. And I know that it's not.
Yeah.
But I don't understand why, because it should be. And I don't get it.
I mean, cliches are cliches for reasons because they work, right?
Yeah.
But, and I mean, it's the same thing with like the romantic storytelling, and I don't mean romantic in like ooh la la romantic.
Right, like
I mean
Romeo
in
and
the
Juliet.
romance format, where it's the hero's journey. That sort of story, like even Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like typically the kid's blonde, you know, they start from nothing, they go to something. I mean, there's a reason these stories work. It's because we enjoy them, and even with the cliche of like I've got to put all my characters together. Like you could start the movie with them together technically, and just have allusion to past events that they've gone through. Like I mean, even Star Wars Episode 3 did that when Anakin and Obi-Wan they land on Coruscant, and it's like that stuff on Kenobi doesn't go.
Right.
Like just that. It's like I want to know that story now, but you know it's just.
And then Star Wars made Kenobi and made Clone
Star Wars
Wars.
Brotherhood. They talk about what happened on Kenobi.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's just that sort of thing that happens, though. I'm not against just the characters starting together. We don't actually have to have a party building montage for me to be okay with the movie.
Right.
I don't. Yeah, and I get what you're saying. I didn't mean that. I just meant the whole just like you play a campaign in D&D. Just the idea of all these characters who are different and have their struggles. Not. I just meant the cliche. Just D&D itself is so fun, and building a story is so fun, and so it should be easy to make a movie. Is what I was meaning. Not so much the prison thing. I was just like a small.
There's some things though, like D&D works because it's not a story.
Right.
It's a game,
and everybody has their own POV.
Yeah, and that's the thing I worry about for like a movie. And this is the reason why like the Critical Role show works out fine, is because it's just retelling the story they've already made.
Right.
But as far as like a movie, you not only have to create this place mostly and create your characters, then you have to tell a story with it. And it's just like that can be difficult because it's supposed to be a game. There is element to like you walk into a random store and you're like, yo, who's that shopkeep? Jerry, what's up, my man? And you all like hang out with Jerry for like an hour doing absolutely nothing.
Right.
But you're enjoying yourself in the game. You cannot do that with a movie.
Right.
You have to move the story.
Yeah, you can't spend 3 hours in a shop and
Yeah.
In D&D you spend 3 hours in a shop and you're like, that was the greatest session ever. If I had a movie that, I'd be like, this is the dumbest movie I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
But also it's because you as a character, a player character, and even as a DM, but you as a player character, you're viewing the story romance style, like through your character. But the person next to you is viewing the story through their character.
That's why I'm worried about the movie.
So I do get what you're saying. I'm with you.
I think
The
we
things
already
that
have a
might
good
be-
D&D movie. You know what the good D&D movie is?
I know a show.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh yeah.
That is a good D&D movie.
Yeah,
I feel like that. Like if
that,
you,
we've talked about
I mean,
that. Yeah.
it
Start out in
feels-
prison together.
It's a D&D party. Like just so much. If they get the feeling similar to that, I think we're set. I think it's good.
We've even talked about Star-Lord, how like he wanted to be like the chaotic rogue, but when we watched the Christmas special, and we're like, he wanted to be the chaotic rogue so bad, but he has to be like
he has to be the dad of the group,
and the dad, and he hates it because he when he started out, he was Star-Lord and wanted to be that. And now he's got this band of misfits that he's like having to take care of.
We've spent 3 hours in a cave just RPing.
Yeah,
And it's like,
that was so fun.
But that's what makes D&D fun. Like most people I talk to, when they talk about D&D, these are the parts they're talking about. Like, could you, like, I hear like DMs complain about like I meant for it to go this way, and my players just effed
I'll
off
never
doing whatever
complain
the
about
heck
that.
they want.
I'll never complain about that as a DM.
Well, some people do, because some people want to get through the story.
Yeah.
And, like, I understand that. But it's just, like, I worry about that for a movie, because if it plays off like a story, is it going to feel like D&D? Especially depending on how they write it.
Yeah.
Who is directing this? What?
Joe Manganiello.
Oh, yeah.
And
that's right.
he understands D&D.
Part of
so
Machina.
he should be able to...
Yes.
Should be able to do something with it and maybe capture that feeling.
That's what I'm hoping for, is if you've got people centered around it. You don't necessarily, the actors don't. Like, one of the actors was like, what am I playing? And they're like, you're playing a rogue. He's like, I'm playing a rogue. Like, I don't care if the actors know D&D.
Yeah.
They don't have to know D&D. As long as, like, you've got people around it that do and understand what we want, we're set.
Yeah, I mean, they're actors.
I think it would be better, though.
Yeah.
Right. No, I don't. Honestly, I think they're actors, right? It's their job to just do what the director tells them.
Yeah.
Right. And so, as long as the director and the production staff understand what they're trying to make, the actors will push it through, because it's going to come from the director.
A good actor,
through
yeah.
them. Right.
And I guess, I don't know, I don't fully agree with that, but I also do agree that if you have an actor who's in there that knows everything about D&D and is a hardcore fan, that's where it can actually become a problem.
Yeah.
Because then you'll butt heads with the director where you're like,
Yeah.
that's not true to this, or, you know.
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of what happened with Henry Cavill on, like, The Witcher, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where he's just kind of like, he was such a
Big
fan of The Witcher. He read the books. He's played the games. Like, he understands what it should be, which is great for him getting into the character of Geralt. But the problem with it is telling the story after that, right? Like, he can really get, like, I want actors to get into their character. It's kind of the same reason I have a problem with a lot of the video game movies where these directors try to just totally separate themselves from the video game. Like, oh, don't learn about the character. We didn't play the games. You know, they say proudly about the Halo series.
Right.
And it's just like understand the essence.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I guess that's what I didn't like about that statement from the actor when he said, like you're playing rogue. And that may have also just been a joke.
Well,
but like,
there's a thing. There's not a set character, right? All he has to do is fall into the rogue class, and that's the director's job.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. All he has to do is play his part.
No, I'm with you on that. I just mean that him not even knowing that there's a class called a rogue. Like, I do think, like, the actor should still, like...
I don't think that affects his character, though. Because my problem with, like, not Henry Cavill, but with, like, these video game characters, they should have an essence of something of the character.
Yeah.
And they don't. His character's made up. Like, the rogue character doesn't exist until he plays it. So it's up to the director to make that character feel
If he was playing...
Because you can play a rogue a million different ways.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
If he was playing a very specific rogue, if he was playing Vax from Critical Role...
Right.
And he didn't know anything about it, that's
fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. I see your point now. Yeah. Because, you can... I mean, that's one of the most fun things that we do, I think, whenever we'll do, like, one-shots where, or, like, we've done in the past where, like, you make a character like a rogue, and you make his charisma really low or something, which is, like, not traditionally common. I like... My first character I ever made was a Goliath who had a very high intelligence and wisdom, who was a warlock.
Yeah.
And he was, like, still strong, but his strength score was lower, and he was the runt of his litter. But, like, I love to do that with characters, so I totally agree with you on that.
Yeah, and it's, like, going back to what we were saying, it's just, like, and the problem with, like, I think Henry Cavill ran into is that he was such a super fan that he would be willing to not only butt heads, but get stubborn.
Yeah.
With it. Like, he would be like, oh, that's not what my character would do.
Right.
And I haven't heard anything about that. I just assumed, like, this is probably what went down because he's no longer part of either project he was a part of, right? Where it is kind of this, oh, that's not what my character would do, so I'm not going to do that. I feel like that's easily something that could have happened on set. And it's like, you can't work with someone who does that.
Right.
Because at the same time, like, you want to stay true, but you want to stay true to the essence of the character. I think that's the important part. You need to nail what the character feels like. You don't have to necessarily nail the story.
Right.
Because I don't. If I want to see the game's story, I'll go play the game.
Right.
I want to see something new, personally. Right.
Right.
So, and I think that's what a lot of, like, video game movies and things like that get wrong. It's like they want to tell their own story. I'm fine with them telling them their own story, but they do it at the expense of who the character is in the game and stuff like that. Yeah,
I feel like the main character of a lot of these video game movies, it's always like, you within the first 10 minutes, you're just like, nope, hate it. That's not him at all.
Yeah.
Like it's so obvious immediately.
Yeah, it really is because it's obvious that the director and the people who wrote it didn't play the game, don't care about the game, and in fact are almost spiteful that they have to create something and use this IP instead of using their own IP, and so they almost ruin it on purpose. Is what it feels like.
What are your guys' favorite video game movies?
That's hard because I don't think I have any that I like.
That's what
I have one I like.
The one I have
one I like. Detective Pikachu.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
I haven't seen that either.
Oh, I love that movie.
I've heard it's good.
Yeah.
I love Ryan
I
Reynolds,
like
too.
Detective
But that's the
Pikachu.
thing. I was about to say, do you like it because it like really does well with the Pokemon universe, or do you like it because you like Ryan Reynolds' Pikachu?
I like it because it does well with Pokemon.
From the clips I've seen, like on TikTok and from the commercials, I feel like it probably does do a good job with the universe, just because it's like, obviously the Pokemon universe, I don't know the timeline, I'm not a huge Pokemon fan of when they are, but it seems like it's a lot like more in the past in a very rural area, and it's like taking that spin and putting it in modern day New York or wherever it is.
Yeah. I don't know if Pokemon's always been in the rural area. I think they've always been limited by what they could do with it.
Right.
Right? Because we're talking about like Game Boy.
Yeah.
Like their idea of a rich like city environment is a 4-way street with like 2 houses on each one.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
and you're supposed to be like in the Kanto region, which is supposed to be like the area outside of Tokyo, kind of like in real life. Like that's that area. So you should be like sprawling
bustling.
city.
Yeah.
You should be around all that.
But
And
that's
Newer
they
games
can't
have
do that.
done more with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so I do get like the feeling of that you get from those old games, and then but I feel like they've gotten better technology and more able to do that. It's gotten more and more filmed.
And I haven't really played any new Pokemon games.
Yeah.
I played a lot of the old ones, but
We should definitely mark down Detective Pikachu to maybe
for
visit
sure.
later.
And that
And maybe do a reaction to.
have you thought of one that you like don't super hate yet?
no.
I haven't either. I've thought of one I hate a lot. I can
What's
say
your
that
least
one.
favorite one?
There's a Zelda show. It's very old, and it's awful.
Yeah.
They make Link just like this blubbering idiot
Yeah.
who just gets lucky all the time, and just all he wants to do is bang.
Smash!
All he wants to do is Super Smash Bro. Zelda. Like that's all I think. They just make him like this dumb. I hate
Speaking of Super
it.
Smash Bro, the Mario movie that was made in like either the 90s, late 80s, early 90s was awful.
Oh,
that was so bad.
Was that the live action one or is that?
Dude,
It's so bad.
it's so bad.
It's so bad. It's good though. Like it's so bad. I love watching it because it's terrible.
I couldn't sit through it.
It's so bad.
I'm trying to think of like a good one. So far, I've really liked Arcane. I know this is a show, not a movie.
Oh yeah, that's
I
a good
think
point.
shows count.
That's a good point.
Arcane
I was
would
thinking
probably be
about
my favorite. I've
Arcane
seen
is
Arcane
so
all the way
far been
through.
great. I've only watched like 3 episodes, but so far I've really enjoyed it.
Yes, and I know nothing about really. I shouldn't say I know nothing about League of Legends. I played it a little bit.
Yeah.
I played a game which I'm really sad it's not out anymore. I don't know if you've heard of it, called Vainglory.
Mm.
So it was basically a mobile version of League of Legends with it was a rip-off essentially, but they only had like 10 heroes when the game came out. And it was even less than that. I loved it. And so I started playing that, and then I tried to play League of Legends, and I love the idea and the concept of it. But I went from 20 items and 10 characters to like 500, and it was too much. I couldn't do it. But I do know some of the characters, so maybe if I knew more about it, I don't know if there's people out there that don't like Arcane because they think that it's like, not true story. But I think the show is
I haven't
great.
heard that
I think the show is
And
so
I would have
good.
heard about that.
I
because
loved the
keep
show.
up with it, yeah.
It was amazing. I cannot wait for the second season.
Yeah, that show's great. Like, if I had to choose video game based, that's probably my favorite. Right?
Yeah, I would agree.
Now, if we're specifically talking about movies where they are limited on their character development and they almost have to rely kind of on the idea that you kind of know what's going on already, that's a different story.
Yeah, and
Because-
that's the thing too. Movies are just a lot harder to do. A show is a lot easier to do.
Yeah, and that's kind of why Star Wars is like, instead of making all these movies, like they originally were supposed to make a Boba Fett movie, an Obi-Wan movie, and they canned those but then turned them into shows.
And that was the best call. I mean,
because it's just easier, maybe not to tell your story, but it's easier to get people invested into your story because you can develop these characters. Could you tell the same story in almost 2 hours? Sure. Would it be as impactful for the fans? Probably not. Plus, a movie's a one-time thing, right? You go and sit down, you watch the movie, 2 hours of your life, and then you're out. And then everyone talks about it for like the first week, and then it's gone. That's kind of the problem Netflix
as well, yeah.
When they just throw out the show immediately, and then everyone binges it, and then it's talked about for like a month, and then it dies immediately. Right? No one talks about it anymore. And then you have like Disney Plus and things like that, which are releasing the new episodes on the same schedule.
Yeah,
on a
very
weekly
smart.
basis.
I mean, we're going to be
And
talking about
it
Star
keeps it
Wars
going.
all the way to the summer. Like, we've got Bad Batch immediately followed by Mandalorian.
Yeah.
And then, like, I don't know if any of the other shows will immediately follow that, but, like, I think Visions might come out before Mandalorian's on. Like, we're going to be continuously having Star Wars content for a while.
Speaking of Star Wars, do you have any hot takes?
Oh, boy.
I think we're done talking about the OGL. I feel like we kind of have been for a while. It's fine.
We were
We gotta ask a question.
Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
we
To the
appreciate
viewer.
that question, by the way. I started to lean to this mic, but I realized it's muted and it doesn't do anything.
Yeah, it's like you just rolled your dice.
Thanks,
What'd you
Jay.
roll?
What'd you roll? Yeah.
A 14. It's a solid
that's
roll.
pretty good. That's pretty good.
If I had a modifier, that'd be... But yeah. Star Wars hot takes. Nick, got any?
So, I've been thinking a lot about...
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I have a hot
no
take.
clue.
I have a hot take. So I've been thinking a lot about Tusken Raiders and their
I'm so excited to hear what you're going to say.
perception
I hate
in the shows and in the movies and stuff.
I disagree with that.
And
That's the problem.
they've really started shifting, like, in the newer content, The Mandalorian and Book of Boba, you've got to
Especially
see,
Book of
like, a different side of the Tuskens and everything,
Mm.
which I think is good. But then you have this effect where everyone's like, oh, all Tusken Raiders are good, and, like how dare Luke call them sand people, and how dare Anakin slaughter this village. But,
And
like,
they didn't just kill his mom.
they killed his mom, but also, like, where his mom was and the way she was being captured.
It's a little bit of Goblin Slayer. A little bit of
Goblin Slayer, yeah.
yeah.
That's what I'm like, I think that's what was happening there. Was, not so, I'm not going to say the word there, but very brutal barbarian stuff there.
Yeah, I mean, I hate Tusken Raiders.
Yeah.
To be quite clear, like, as far as Star Wars lore, as long as I've been a part of it, Tusken Raiders have always sucked.
Yeah,
They're savages.
right. And I'm okay with some of them being good
Yeah.
in that, but I don't...
You have to think, like, it makes sense that this, like, very, like, savage group of people, even in a savage group of people, like a very large savage group of people, there's going to be some that, don't agree or just, have their own tribe. And I think those are the ones we saw in Book of Boba.
Right.
And even them, they were still, like, quite
the
savage.
thing about, like, The Mandalorian and Book of Boba that works for these Tusken Raiders is lore-wise, Tusken Raiders respect power.
Mhm.
They respect fighting ability, right? That's
Yeah.
why they think it's okay to raid farmers and stuff like that, because the farmers can't fight back. Why should you
Right.
respect them if they can't beat you?
Right.
Kind of thing. That's the way Tusken Raiders think, right?
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like, that's the reason why they like Mandalorians. Because Mandalorians have this battle won, what's the word I'm looking for? Reputation of being these warriors. The moment you see Mandalorian armor, you're like, oh crap, it's a Mandalorian. Even if they're not a Mandalorian, even if it's just someone wearing Mandalorian armor.
How did you get that armor? If you had to kill a Mandalorian to do it, holy crap. That maybe makes you scarier.
So when I first saw the Tusken Raiders and, like, he started signing to Tusken Raiders, in The Mandalorian, that made sense to me. Like, Tusken Raiders would respect a Mandalorian just by the way that they are. But I don't think that means they're suddenly nice to everybody.
Right. Like I said, they were still savage, but...
Yeah, no,
and the
I
only
just...
reason they left, like, the village alone in the second season, because they helped them kill the dragon. Right? So now they respect this group of people. I don't think that means they're not going to mess with any other moisture farmers or villages nearby.
But they know that specific village can hold up in a fight.
Yeah, they're essentially your lizard character in my campaign.
Oh yeah.
Crap, why can't I think of his
Korth?
name? Korth, yeah.
Yeah.
Nicholas has a character in my campaign named Korth who is essentially exactly that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just like, because I remember playing like Knights of the Old Republic, and Tusken Raiders were awful, and I just was excited to get through that village because I hate Tusken Raiders.
But yeah, and it's like a lot of like the mainstream and stuff is like, oh, Tuskens aren't that bad. Oh,
Right, because
Padme, you know, I can't believe Padme liked Anakin after he did that. I'm like, he made Tatooine a little bit better.
yeah, I mean, they killed his mom.
Right.
After raiding the farming village.
Right.
I'm pretty sure that's not the only person they killed. It's just the only person they took back.
Well, Klieg Lars said that they went out with like 14 and only 2 of them came back, and he was like missing half of his leg.
Yeah, like
so like, it's not just just the one situation. But
yeah, it's not. It's like they didn't just kill his mom. They killed a lot of people on that raid.
Yeah.
And Anakin just happened to find his mom, and then was overtaken by rage and killed the village.
Right. Yeah.
Probably a good thing.
Right. That's what I don't think we get the Tuskens. The Tusken's growth is a little bit, you know.
I don't want a Tusken redemption arc, but
I feel like we're redeeming a lot of
I think it'd be cool to see a Tusken character who was like a main character was like a very D&D situation where it was separated from family and raised by, you know.
Yeah. Because
there's a Tusken Jedi in Legends.
Yeah. Because I know J-Day's watching. I won't get into the like Mass Effect like equivalents to that in my head right now.
Right.
Like there are a couple good ones. But I'm just announcing that there are a couple of good ones so Nick can think about it. I don't know
played Mass Effect.
You've played it?
Some, not all of it all the way through, but a lot.
Like there's a couple characters, specifically one I could think of that fits this. Like they're evil, awful, and you hate them, especially for all of the first game. And this guy comes up and you're kind of like,
I know you're talking about, yeah. Because the second game's the one I played the most.
Yeah.
I actually beat.
Yeah, and you're just like, okay.
I love that character.
Oh.
Yeah. I like you.
Oh, buddy.
But I don't want the Tusken Raiders to go through that. And I think a little bit of that is not to get, you know, too on that topic, but I think there is just a switch in our culture, in our society, on how we look at, you know, stereotyping an entire group of people,
right,
and like labeling them as savages or enemies and just that sort of thing. I think just culturally, our society has shifted where people they're not comfortable with making that story anymore, telling that story. Yeah. And so I think there's a bit of that coming back on it, where it's just like they don't want them to be these evil savages that you're just kind of excited when Anakin lights up his lightsaber. You're like, yeah, get him! Get him!
Definitely my reaction as a kid.
Yeah.
Which is not good, but...
when he killed all those Padawans, I was just like, yeah!
No, we're not talking about that part. No, that part's awful.
I'm joking.
Right.
I will say on the topic of Tusken Raiders, obviously because Boba Fett's such a big part of this topic, my hot take is
like
the more I've thought about it, I'm not going to say I didn't like Boba Fett, but Boba Fett as a character deserved a better show than that.
Absolutely.
It was a good show. It wasn't a good Boba Fett show.
But I feel like that's the point. A lot of the problems I had with people complaining about the Book of Boba Fett is they didn't get the character from Legends. They didn't get this, you know, badass that just doesn't talk. He's just like, boom, you're dead. Bounty, you know. And there's something to be said, like, you can make that show work. Like, that was the first half of the first episode, first Mandalorian.
Reading.
Yeah.
Reading.
So I'm
No.
just declaring.
I'm really gonna do that. Awesome.
So, just to bring it back real quick, Jedi says, I personally love how we are moving away from enemies are savages and more to enemies have different viewpoints than I do, or that go against my morals or goals.
Right. And that's always been kind of what a bad guy is, right? I mean,
right, but there's always been
yeah.
groups and almost everything that were just evil.
Right.
Right.
D&D,
and you
you
just
had
wanted
goblins and orcs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Lord of the Rings has orcs, Orcais, anyone from Mordor, honestly. Where it's like, these people are just evil. You don't root for them. You don't see one and think, oh, I can understand where he's coming from. That's not the point.
Even if he's misguided.
You have to...
I do agree. Like, I want you have the diversity. What I don't like is that everyone's just all of a sudden like, Tuskens aren't that bad. And like they're doing like the same thing but in the reverse way. They're like, it's not that bad. And then it kind of like skews some of the other
you're doing
things.
The same thing.
Yeah, they're just doing it reverse.
Yeah.
Now.
I'm with you on that for sure.
I don't think I agree with it. Because I think there is, to tell a more cohesive story, it's beneficial to be able to write just a bad guy character. Right? It's more beneficial to maybe not... Like, I don't mean the main bad guy, because Vader gets his redemption arc, and I'm cool with that. But I think in order to move the story along, the Tusken Raiders had to be this way. Correct. Because you can't just sit here and delve into who are the Tusken Raiders in a 2-hour movie. And
that was our job as fans to do on our own time.
Yeah.
Just make up all sorts of crazy
and
stories.
We did. That's
exactly.
what Legends is all about.
That's why it's good, yeah.
But that's also something we didn't really stray away from in Legends either.
Yeah.
Tusken Raiders were just bad guys. They're evil.
Mm-hmm.
They were people who lived on the edge, and for whatever reason, they just adopted this role of marauders. And I feel like for stories, that's sometimes a good thing.
Oh, I agree.
Like, as a society, I would hate for us to label a group of people as savages or something like that. Like, if we're talking colonial times, we get in the Pocahontas movie, savages, you know. I'm not okay with that.
Right.
Because the entire movie, like, us, that's a totally different story. But we're talking about a made-up story, and you have to get to your end goal.
Right.
You have to climb that mountain, hit your climax, finish the movie. You can't... It just doesn't work for a story.
But you still have that in the story, and then now, because we're expanding that universe, now we have room for all the other stuff, and it's like, okay, this is why they're that way, and you have a more fleshed out story in general. So I kind of like am like halfway between. Like, I agree. Like, you can still have those stories. Oh, these are the bad guys. Yeah. We know these are the bad guys, and then later you can like tie in a little bit with something else.
I think the one thing you said that you were talking, I was like, I don't really agree with what he's saying. But then when you said it should never be the main bad guy, I definitely agree with that. No, like the main you don't want the main bad guy to be he's just evil.
Yeah, I mean, there's something nice about that too. Like, I feel like the movie that falls into that, where he's just evil, is like Hans Landa from Inglourious Bastards. I don't know if y'all seen it. Mm-hmm. He's a Nazi officer. He's just evil throughout the whole show. There really isn't any like explanation for it other than he's a Nazi and he's looking out for himself. Mm-hmm. Like, that's his thing. And you don't have moments where you're like, oh man, I really understand where he's coming from. Like, there is none of that. And I think that works. You don't always have to have a bad guy you feel sorry for.
Right. Oh yeah.
Not every bad guy has to be, I got bullied as a kid and now I hate the world.
And there are definitely people in the world now today, real world, that are that way. Like, they genuinely don't care about anyone but themselves and what makes them gain or profit.
I don't always need a sympathetic bad guy. Right. And sometimes I prefer stories without him. Like, I don't have to know all that about you. I can just understand that you're a bad guy. My favorite movie ever, The Princess Bride. Prince Humperdinck. He's just mean. That's his whole thing.
And he's not even evil, by the way.
No,
he's just kind of a dick.
Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna.
You know what I mean? And then he's a great bad guy. Yeah, you hate him. You hate him so much. You're like, oh gosh, you're not even a good bad guy. You're just a dick and whiny. I hate you. I can't wait for you to die.
Yeah, but that's what I like. Of course, there is a place for sympathetic bad guys.
Right.
Bad guys you can get behind and be like, oh man, if things turned out differently, you know, and this could have been a cool guy.
And the best way to do a bad guy like that is Darth Vader. Like, you make 3 movies that show, oh yeah, he's a good guy, and things just went horribly wrong, and then you're just like, whoa.
Yeah, and I think Star Wars handles it well. I think a lot of stories handle it pretty well.
Right.
I also think there's kind of an over-reliance on it right now. I feel like nobody wants to make, at least in these massive movies, just a bad guy. It's like, I kind of miss the bad guy.
think cinema always goes through that though. There's like I don't want to say it's fads that happen, but there's just things that get popular and people. I mean, people, especially you got to think when people are making movies. I mean, yes, people care about their stories and like there's fandom, but like at the end of the day, if you're a company, you're gonna do what you know is gonna work.
Exactly.
Like, to a degree.
Yeah.
They say media follows culture, or culture's downstream from media. Something like that. I forget how they say it, but I mean it's true. It's like we tell stories we want to see, or at least the majority of people.
Yeah.
If you don't want to see that story,
You're
probably not in the majority.
Right.
Jay just asked, "What's your favorite relatable or sympathetic bad guy?"
Probably. I don't know if
I'm gonna
it's
roll out
relatable.
Darth Vader and Anakin. I feel like that's just an obvious choice for us.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. I was gonna say. I didn't want to say it, but that's like.
So he's not on the topic. Now pick.
Relatable, sympathetic bad guy.
Do you know who I think? I don't know if it's the most, but I just think is a really really good bad guy.
Yeah.
Even in the new movie, it even made it better. Honestly, Green Goblin from Spider-Man 1, fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because he had good ambitions and then things went wrong and it made him crazy. Or even Spider-Man 2, Doc Ock, honestly, even better.
Yeah.
Even
I
better.
think Doc Ock's better.
Yeah, even better. Yeah.
Because the thing about Green Goblin is like his ambition got to him.
Yeah.
That's the point, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing with kind of Anakin too, but Anakin's ambitions were for good goals. Green Goblin was just kind of ambitious. He wanted to push his name forward. Like he had some good reasons for things.
Yeah.
But
he wanted
his main goal was to push his name, right? Push his industry. And Doc Ock different. He wanted to help people with what he was pushing.
One small step for mankind.
Yeah, and then it went wrong. So I think there is a point where like I don't know if Green Goblin's fully in that relatable. Like he kind of is, obviously, because he really is just someone who suffered from.
I wouldn't say he's as relatable because the reason that he becomes a villain is because he goes crazy.
Right.
Because of a bad experiment.
Right,
though.
and Doc Ock is in the same situation.
Well, he's saying it's not relatable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't relate to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, my thing about
It's
him,
sympathetic, for sure.
Yeah, I
You're
can
like,
sympathize.
Oh, man.
But Doc Ock is in a way where it's like, it's not him. He's being controlled by something.
Yeah, you just
and
kinda
I can
feel
relate
that,
to that, and not in the same way, but like being in like a situation of a job or something where I felt like I didn't have control over my life and I had to do something like things.
Yeah.
This is obviously in a grander scale.
Spider-Man villains typically are very, very good about that.
I mean, Spider-Man's
villains
the most
are great.
Spider-Man's villains and Spider-Man are so relatable all the time for me. That's why he's my favorite superhero.
Yeah.
Spider-Man has the best rogue gallery.
Yeah.
I think so.
Batman's up there, but Spider-Man, I think, wins it out for me.
Yeah. Relatable.
And Flash comes in last place. The villains suck.
Just all
The hero sucks. I run real fast.
I like the Flash, but there's just the problem with speedsters in general. And I know this is kind of off topic, but this is how my brain works. I just have to say,
this is nothing's off topic.
Yeah, exactly.
Just
Eternals, I think, was such a refreshing way that they did a speedster.
Yeah.
They didn't use slow-mo really, like, because I'm just so over it.
Yeah.
I watched a lot of the Flash show. I stopped watching it because honestly, the first season of the Flash I thought was really good.
Yeah.
But like all DC shows, it just started sucking terribly.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. But Eternals, I loved that they like speedsters are just so hard to do.
Yeah.
They're so hard to do because where's your limit? Like I literally saw an episode of Flash, the newest season.
Yeah.
Because my roommate was watching it, and like this guy comes and tells that he's gonna kill him so he can prevent Armageddon from happening because Flash causes Armageddon. Whatever that means. That's just they really push that Armageddon word though. They say it a lot. But it turns out like he goes the reverse Flash like comes and he has to go back in time and then he has to run really fast because he's losing his speed to go back into the future. But he runs through time all the time. Like they even have like the number it takes for him to go through time. But for some reason this time it like just causes like earthquakes and tidal wave. And that's why speedsters are just I feel like it gets so convoluted.
Yeah, I think the coolest thing about like a speedster is the amount of tertiary super abilities that they have to have that no one thinks about.
Right.
Like you have to have
speed healing. You have to have like
you have to be speed healing. You have to have like
super strength,
super
almost.
muscles.
Yeah, because they're running that fast.
Just give up.
Yeah, exactly.
The other thing, you have to be like super heat resistant.
Mm-hmm.
Because that amount of friction that you're moving at, you would just burn up immediately. Like, there are a bunch of tertiary abilities that no one talks about because it's just expected with being a speedster, that I think are cooler than running fast.
Yeah, exactly. And I think this is one of the reasons that I like Marvel over DC, is that DC, all of their heroes are too powerful too quickly. Like, they go so hard. And I know that Marvel does it too.
Yeah.
But you can't take a speedster where you're like, oh yeah, like he can run at the speed of light and like he can travel through time, and then his main nemesis be a guy with a cold gun. Like, it doesn't work. That's not. He's so fast. He's never gonna.
Hey, don't speak bad about him. He's one of the coolest villains, okay?
He is the coolest, yes.
I hate y'all.
It's just the worst.
I did think of a villain that I love that is sympathetic, but also like you're really bad. Like which is Killgrave from Jessica Jones.
Oh.
And maybe a lot of people aren't so sympathetic for him.
Yeah, I don't think I am. Explain.
But I mean, his abilities are, if he says to do something, you have to do it.
Yeah. How?
And he, at a very young age, got those abilities, and he got twisted in a way where he's like,
okay.
He's like,
you're convincing me.
Telling people to love him, and then they love him, and then he doesn't know if it's real or not, and he just gets so twisted that he just doesn't know what.
No, I'm with you.
He doesn't know his limits,
especially when you're a young child. Like, if your mom or dad is trying to like teach you, oh, this isn't okay, and you're mad about it, instead of throwing a tantrum and you getting spanked or grounded or whatever your parent does, like, you can just say, no, you let me do that, and then the kid's never gonna learn.
Yeah.
I mean,
Killgrave is one of my favorite villains, and I love I just forgot his name, so I guess I don't love him that much.
The actor.
Oh my gosh,
the doctor.
David Tennant.
Yeah.
I love David Tennant.
Yeah.
And he is so good in that role.
Mm-hmm.
I just really
think I've decided on mine, and it's gonna be Jaime Lannister.
Oh, that's a good one.
Oh, that is
a good one.
That's my favorite. I think they ruined it for the last season.
Yeah.
But his whole arc was just so good, as far as going from villain, and then you kind of relate to his villainous a little bit, and then he starts coming back. I think he's amazing.
I agree. That's good.
I love this scene where he's like, they say something about saving lives, like, how many lives have you saved? And he's like, 1.5 million. And she's like, what? And he's like, the population of King's Landing. Like, it's just like, it's such a good scene.
I love how he's hated for that. Everyone calls him, King's Landing. It's just like, this is such a good thing he did, though.
Yeah. I love him.
He killed the Tuskens. What do you want? That was a good question, JD.
Yeah, honestly.
What's yours, JD?
Yeah, what's yours?
Ooh.
What's yours? Huh?
Huh? Nope.
Yeah.
If you say Thanos, get out of here.
Get out of here. He's not even relatable. He's one of those, to me, I think Thanos is really annoying. Because he just reminds me of someone who talks about overpopulation a lot. And it's like, first off, scientifically speaking, it's not even a real thing right now.
Sure, but to be fair, this is a fantasy movie where there's 5 or 7 7 stones that can alter reality. So in this world, maybe
but
they're
even still, it's like, it just reminds me of talking to those kinds of people. Where they're like, oh, everything's just overpopulated. Everyone needs to there needs to be a death of a fourth of the human population. It's like, no, there doesn't. You're just crazy.
Yeah.
What needs to happen is development into further areas.
Mm-hmm.
That's all we need.
I mean, that's like what Elon Musk
responsible development. To be fair, right?
To be fair.
Because, there are some other things that we have to think about. Things you don't even think about. Where it's like...
I don't think about a lot of things.
But it's like the nutrients in the food. We are constantly regrowing food in the same area. And now we've made progress into, nurturizing? I don't know. Nurturing
I like it.
The ground,
Re-nurturizing.
the soil. And it's just the idea though is the more food you grow out of that, the more nutrients they get taken up. So the more we get into like this commercial farming, the less healthy our food is. Not even just like the healthy food or like the unhealthy food, where like obviously that's unhealthy.
Yeah, but
like,
even the healthy food, even like the canned
just,
green beans now are just.
It's just running out of nutrients.
That's a whole topic that we could talk for hours on that.
Yeah, but I mean the way to change that is progress on science and figure out a way to get all that stuff back in, new soils and stuff like that. We can do that, and we've been doing it. And then the other thing is develop into more areas, make it usable. Of course, that comes with all sorts of other things, like you start to get into politics, you start to get into who owns the land, you start to get into
commercial farmers. That's my most hated villain.
You start to get into that sort of thing.
I'm joking.
But it's like that's what all you need. Like we're not like as an Earth overpopulated. It's just not true.
Yeah.
And anyone who like pushes that is just annoying to me. Because just admit you hate people. Just admit that part. Just admit you hate people.
All right. This is 1/3 opinion.
We need a good flag.
To go back though to Thanos, I mean,
but that's why I don't like Thanos, because he falls into the people are just evil, so I'll wipe out half of them.
Again, I would say
Get over it.
I don't think it was because it's evil. I would say it's because it's a fantasy world. That doesn't bother me because that's something that I could say in this world they've created. Maybe that just really is to the point where it's going to be so crazy, whether it's true or not, whatever. But the problem with Thanos, and even though I love the movies and I still would watch them and I love them, I mean the whole giant loophole or the contradiction is just that he had the Infinity Stones. There's so many other things that he could have done.
Yeah,
than that.
Double the resources.
Yeah, like it's just really it's really dumb. Like when you think about the whole premise, that's why I don't like it, because that Thanos really is just an idiot.
He got twisted. He saw it happen to his own people, and it may not have even been what actually happened.
Fanboying describing why it makes sense and that he didn't do it. It's
right. Well, but like he saw.
It's true.
But he saw it happen to his own people, and he decided that that's the reason why. It doesn't mean it was actually the reason why. And he's just like, I know I can go kill a bunch of people. That's what I can do. So he starts doing it on a small scale, and by the point that he figures out about the Infinity Stones, and that's now his goal, he's already killed so many people and justified it. He has to continue that through. Yeah, you can't just say, oh, actually there's a better way to do it, because then everything he did before that makes him a villain, and he can't be a villain to himself.
He could have just brought back all the people that he killed with the Infinity Stones.
He could have.
That's the other part.
I'm just saying.
He's already been twisted and killing so many people this long that he just
it does fall into what is called like the slippery slope fallacy,
right,
where it's just that I'm too far in now.
Yeah.
I'm too far gone. You can't save me. I've made too many mistakes.
Right.
If I bet one more, I'll win it all. Like there's just that I'm too far in to give up now. A mentality that humans just have, and there is something to be said.
Well, he's not a human. So I'm joking.
That's the problem with alien characters, in my opinion. Though, for a lot of things, they're written by humans. They have to follow the way we approach problems and things like that, because that's what we're writing. Even if we write in a way that isn't sensible to us, it doesn't make for a good story.
Right. It's not relatable.
It's not relatable. And B, it still feels like a human wrote it. Just wrote it badly.
Yeah.
So.
Right.
I've never had an issue with that, because I think I just always understood that. I mean, we can't go hire an alien and be like, let me interview you. Like, you're purple.
What makes you tan?
You're purple. But what would you do if there was an overpopulation problem and you had 6 stones?
Yeah, but there is we have, parts of our history that we don't agree with, that we hate. And we could explore that, but people don't want to. It's not something people want to talk about or think about. Because, I mean, my personal view on that sort of thing is like, everyone has the capability to be as good or as awful as they want to be.
Right.
I think everyone falls into this, I wouldn't do that. That's not me.
Mm-hmm.
Without experiencing the situation in which that was put in.
I agree with that.
And I think if a lot of people got put into these situations that they judge other people on, I think they'd fall in real quick and be like, maybe I am like that.
Right.
Yeah, and
a good example of that, I think, is a lot of people like talking about like the Revolutionary War, and they're like, America.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I would would be a loyalist. Like,
I would too.
I would 100% be a loyalist.
Yeah.
Like, I know myself. I would not have joined.
Yeah.
Like, at all.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
I would not have been a patriot. First off, I'm from the southern United States, so it's like that's a New England thing, anyways. Like, what the heck they doing? I don't care.
Right.
The other thing would be, it's just, why would we do that? We've got the protection from the greatest country in the world. I don't really hate the king.
Yeah.
We caused this war that's getting us taxed. You know, it's kind of fair. That's fine. I get trade and business coming from this other island out across the Atlantic. I'm related to most of these people. Like, I don't see the problem here.
Right.
That these New Englanders have. You know, kind of thing would be my approach to it.
I mean, I'm glad it happened.
Yeah,
but I'm
same.
like,
Yeah,
I'm not
exactly.
gonna.
I'm proud to be an American.
Yeah.
But I
Yes.
know if I was a part of the situation where it took to make America,
Right.
Yeah,
I would
you
not
just being
be on the
honest with
American
yourself.
side.
Yeah.
And the thing is, people can only handle what they can handle, like to a certain degree. And so, yeah, you want it. Obviously, everyone wants to be like, I'd be there to taxation without representation. I'd be there, but like, you don't know. You don't know what you do.
Yeah. I mean, and that's part of the fun part about talking about history, is that you almost have to turn off your modern brain and talk about it from that point of view.
You have to basically put yourself into two people and like you're talking to yourself as a another
you
person.
have to, because if you don't, history's just weird, dumb, and crazy.
It is.
History is weird, dumb, and crazy.
You're just like,
Because we're weird, dumb, and crazy.
yeah,
And we still are.
Oh man,
Present's weird, dumb, and crazy.
Sparta's awesome. 2/3 of the population were slaves in Sparta, which is what allowed the Spartans to become warrior poets. So because they could spend all their time doing that instead of menial labor, because they had a bunch of slaves to do it. And it's like,
This is Sparta!
awesome, a warrior.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
there's another part to that, but you have to think about it from the Spartan point of view if you're going to, and just be like, this is normal. It's not normal today, and for good reason, because it sucks. It's awful.
Yeah.
But there.
Put yourself in a situation where everyone surrounding you is like, you're either going to be a slave or you're going to be this.
Mm.
And like, you're forced to choose. What are you going to do? Obviously, you want to say, oh, I would never do that.
There's a third option. I'll just end it.
Okay. Have
You
fun with
suck!
that. Good luck. Yeah. No, I
That made me think, we should do a Would You Rather podcast some point. Remember we played
yeah,
Would
sure.
You Rather for like 3 hours on that drive from
sweet.
Colorado?
Oh, yeah, that's true.
That was fun. That's when Sarah was like, we need to do a podcast. Anyway, sorry.
Could you hit the mute real quick? Happy birthday.
Oh.
No, you didn't hit mute.
Oh, yeah.
I hit a point. I don't know. So we played Would You Rather, and
Yeah.
it was like, would you rather give up your cell phone, or every time you hear "Happy Birthday" you vomit uncontrollably for like a minute?
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll vomit. I can avoid it. And then I was super conscious of every time I heard it, and I was like, a week later, I was like, I take it back. I don't want that. I didn't think about how much I actually heard that song.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, I don't hear it that often, but
I can just avoid it. I just won't go to birthday parties. And when I go to birthday parties, I'll leave the room before we start singing.
right, exactly. That was my thought process.
No.
It was not a good thought process.
Yeah, but it's just everywhere.
Yeah.
Like the Pat McAfee show the other day, it was Tim Tebow's birthday, and they started singing it. Like, you don't think about how often you hear that song.
Honestly. There's that great stuff. So that could be fun.
I heard it like 3 times in one day, and that was the day. I was like,
It was like, I would have been dead.
yeah, that would be so bad.
I would be
I got
dying.
really sick, and it was bad, and I was like, those two things near each other.
Think
just made me like,
think about
no.
already being sick and throwing up, and then
Yeah.
and it's your birthday, and your mom calls you. It's
Perfect storm.
The perfect storm.
Yeah. Honestly, it would just be awful.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, we should get some Would You Rather suggestions from some people.
We should. I think we should get some suggestions though, because I have a problem with Would You Rather, and I feel like I remember that car ride pretty well, where I just complained the whole time about stupid questions. Like, these aren't even related.
Yeah.
I'd get upset about it.
I think it wasn't until it was a lot later and you were very tired that you started doing that, though. And we were all really tired at a certain point.
Hey, Lucy. It's Lucy.
Eli can't see whatever people. I can see it move. But he's like, we start waving and then
Juicy? What? What'd you
Lucy.
Lucy.
I don't know why we all just said this.
No.
I mean, it's 3 E's, not 3 O's.
Lucy.
Yeah, it should be Lucy. You should hold out the E at that point, right?
Just random fact, my name is Eli, and it's spelled E-L-I, and people pronounce it L-E all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
What's up,
I've watched it.
And then I also have people who would send me birthday cards when I was young, who would spell my name E-L-L-E-E. What?
I've never had a problem. Like, my biggest problem was, like, people who are dyslexic, right? My last name, people usually pronounce it as flower. Like, they just put the L somewhere else, and it's like, oh, okay, cool. Okay, cool.
Flower.
I decided not to say my last name.
Yeah.
But, you know.
Right. No, I didn't. That's fine.
This is random again, but we're here. I dated a girl who...
Yeah, you can ask questions.
Yeah, go for it.
No, we're just talking about random things.
Yeah, we're not on top.
Speaking of random things, I dated a girl whose name was Erixa, which it's not a real name. It was made up.
Oh.
Her dad's name was
It's
Eric.
a real name now.
Well, yeah. Her dad's name was Eric, and they had a
so
daughter, and they
daughter
named her
of
Erica.
Oh.
And then he had another daughter that they weren't planning on having, but they still wanted to like they're very like patriarchal, strong family. Like he's very much like
The
not
man of the
just
house.
very man of the house.
Yeah.
Like wants to provide, kind of old school. And so they just were like, well, we want to name her. So they did Erixa, which she was Hispanic, and so I dated her, and I would always tell people her name. I'd always say it with an accent because I hated to tell people that I was dating someone named Eric. So, I don't know, it was dumb, but so I was always like, her name is Erixa. Like so that hopefully people wouldn't like question.
That's weird that there's Erica and Erixa.
Oh, I agree.
And Eric.
It's very weird. Oh,
Like,
yeah.
that's...
And then their other daughter's name was what's the queen from Game of Thrones?
Cersei.
No, the dragon queen.
Daenerys.
Daenerys. Her name was Damaris. So it was like Eric, Erica, Erixa, and then Damaris. Like it just nope.
They just
They're
give up.
like nah.
It's too hard. Names are weird.
Names are weird.
Names are
They're so weird.
crazy.
One of my D&D character's name is Kai, and I work with someone named Kai.
True.
And Mano works with me right now, and I said something about Kai. He's like looked at me so confused. I was like, Kai, not Kai.
That seems like such a normal thing for your fantasy character to do.
Yeah.
Did we get a question?
No.
Not yet? Okay.
They asked if they could ask a
I
question.
guess then we did get a question.
That is a question. Can I ask a question? Yes, you can.
Yes,
There you
all
go.
names are made up.
I've been
Flago and on foot.
yep. Mm-hmm. Yep.
That was German.
Deutsch.
I've been meeting a lot of people with the name Eli recently.
Really?
Yeah, like younger kids. And it's weird because growing up, I never met anyone else named
I know
Eli.
a lot of Eli's.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are they all like my age? Or
They're all blonde, which is really weird for me.
Huh.
Eris was an odd one.
Eric says and it's literally just spelled Eric, S-A. That's...
Oh, it's... Oh, hey, welcome back. Wait, what did you say?
moment. It was
Oh,
I was
it's
actually
funny
just
that you're
spelling
laughing
it.
because
This person's
question's
back.
funny.
I'm laughing at what I
They commented on my on my Spider-Man play the
Oh,
other
did they?
day. Yeah.
They said,
Oh,
here's the question. How
Okay.
many chicken nuggets would it take for each of you to completely blow up the bathroom?
I have a pretty
I
bad
feel like
stomach,
I need
so...
TNT to do that, but you know.
Well, it's obviously...
It wouldn't take you much at all, would
No, it's like
Old
one.
glutey booty over here.
Because I can't have gluten.
it? Yeah,
so
he's gluten free, so
Yeah.
that would.
that would be
Two.
bad.
I guess...
Two-
But if they were
Yeah.
gluten free,
Also,
I could
it
eat
depends on
quite
the
a few.
nugget. If we're talking like McDonald's nugget, you give me 20, I'm blowing up the bathroom. But if it's like a
Yeah,
homemade
same.
nugget,
You give me 10, and I'm probably having
Yeah.
problems. Like
Most-
McDonald's is not.
honestly,
with me.
actually, it would take 0. It wouldn't. There'd be no amount because if I had 20 McNuggets, I wouldn't poop for a week, probably. So I would do the opposite of what you're saying.
Well, the thing is a lot of gluten-free nuggets are like a little bit more healthy.
Yeah.
I've found, and like they don't do the same thing. So one McDonald's nugget, I'm gone.
I try and stay away from carbs, so like I have a gluten-free pasta that I eat, even though I'm not gluten. Like I don't have to go gluten-free just because there's a lot less carbs in a gluten-free.
J-Day, I just want to say real quick, shout out to J-Day. I know we said it earlier, but I want to say it again. Just shout out. She's done a lot of the channel art and stuff like that for us, so thank you, whole bunch.
Yeah, she's a really good artist.
It's really good.
Yes.
Really good.
I think she's got a couple like online comics stuff that she works on.
Yeah.
Totally worth checking out. Great art style. Everything.
Follow her on Instagram.
Yeah, I mean we have the link in our channel
YouTube,
about.
Yeah, it's in our about.
About. I love the way you say about. I never get over it. No.
What has been your fave D&D character arc?
Like
Personal?
just in general, or
I think
I'm gonna go with personal.
yeah, I would like to answer personal probably.
Okay.
It's hard to answer because it's still an ongoing campaign. Like in your campaign right now, Callan's is pretty good, but I very much enjoyed my last campaign's character arc because it was the first time I played kind of a villain a little bit. Well,
What?
Loot Risk,
Right.
His name was, oh gosh, it's a long story. I don't know where to start.
He went to play a character that was like on the fence.
Yeah.
And depending on actions could either go very much villain or go the route of a redemption arc.
Yeah.
And was pushed or beaten to the point of going the villain route. So that's fun.
Yeah, and that was something that I wasn't.
Pushed.
Yeah.
Like, when I made the character, I'd planned on him kind of being a character that was like very chaotic. Like I always would play chaotic characters in the past a little bit. Like I generally wanted to play a chaotic character.
Yeah.
Like someone who just purposefully was an agent of chaos. Like just to amuse himself would either save a child or kill a child, just depending on like the mood he's in.
Yuri says 20 and 10 are rookie numbers. I once had 35 McNuggets and the fire department had to be called.
Oh, this brings up a fun story for me. Personal story. It's kind of similar but a little different. So we had some friends.
I love it.
More than the fire department was going. I'm just kidding. So I had some friends, family friends. Like our parents were really good friends. What they said?
He says you look like Ed Sheeran.
Oh yeah. He told me that the other day.
You know, I actually kind of see, especially with your hair right now.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Sing Thinking Out Loud is his favorite song. I mean, you can't copyright, but you know.
I also can't because I suck at singing.
I was gonna say I'm gonna do this and sing and you lip. I was like, mute. Hold on.
You know what? Give it your best go. We could stand like 2 seconds.
Yeah. Just do the melody. You don't have to sing the words. Just ba ba da da da.
Yeah. There you go.
Ready? Go
That's
ahead.
all you gotta do. I was gonna pretend dead. I was like, we can stand 2 seconds.
It'll be fine.
Ears start bleeding.
What happened?
No, so the McNugget thing though, we had some friends that lived in Oklahoma and we would drive out. My brother lived in Oklahoma at the time when I was like 12. And so we had friends we'd always go and we'd stay with them because my brother at the time was like 17 and lived in like a really bad like apartment and it was disgusting because he was 17 and single.
As
so,
it goes.
Yeah, didn't even like have a mom, fun. But anyway, so we had these friends and so the dad of my friend, he went to Krispy Kreme to get donuts. And it was like almost midnight. And they were carrying a trash bag, and it was like he saw them put some donuts in this trash bag and he started to carry it out. He's like, "Are you throwing those donuts out?" And they're like, "Yeah, they're still warm, but like we can't sell them tomorrow. We have to throw them out." He said it was like a really slow night. I don't know what it was, but so they gave him 12 dozen donuts, and we stayed there for a weekend. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, went home on Monday. It was like a short weekend trip. So we had a competition, all the kids, and they had 4 kids, 5 kids, and I'm the youngest of 5. So 10 children all decided to have a competition to see who could eat the most.
Oh no!
I'd had 27 in 2 days. the oldest boy of my friends, his family, he had 32, I think. And I mean, like, it was just the whole week. It was terrible. The whole weekend, it was literally just like you were just standing outside the bathroom, like, wait for the other person to get out, because we were all just crapping all the time. It was bad. We were all sick. Like, it was so funny. And I don't know what, like, if my parents just have a great sense of humor that they were both sets were just like, yeah, go for it, you know? Like, they had to have known that was gonna be a terrible idea.
They're like, you go play the other, you go do that, whatever.
Yeah. I just remember at one point, like, all the kids were just in the living room, like, on the floor, couch, recliner, just like, oh, just all the way. We didn't do anything all weekend. I think we finally went downtown on Sunday, but, like, yeah, it was just hilarious.
Lucy says, what the hell is in your nuggets? I've never heard anyone react to eating them like that. I was like, have you seen what's in our nuggets? Have you seen the pink slime that they make our nuggets out of? Yeah, because to tell you, like, McDonald's chicken nuggets are not like chicken breast breaded and then fried up. It's
ground up.
Parts of any part of chicken, really. All ground up.
Talons and
everything. And then just put into this pink slime that is then processed and put into these nugget shapes. So it's not like, you know, your standard idea of like a chicken nugget. It's pretty gross.
I saw this TikTok.
And for some reason, I still want them every now and then.
Yep. I will say I don't like McDonald's nuggets. Honestly, I don't.
I don't like them anymore. I used to love them.
I never have. Even when I was a kid, I didn't like them. I don't think they taste good. I never thought they tasted good. Now, like Burger King or Wendy's, I'll smash them.
Yeah.
But
back to J-Days.
I was about to say,
D&D.
Let's roll back to character arcs.
So I feel like I'm in the middle of a really good arc, so I don't really want to talk about that right now. But
J-Day also said in general works too.
Oh,
she was especially looking for yours because now, I mean, you DM a lot. You've DM'd a lot. So you've seen a lot of characters go
It's true.
Some interesting
See, I was thinking of like characters I've played, and I don't have very many great ones for that.
Yeah, because you haven't played a lot.
But people who have DM'd...
Yeah.
I really like yours from last campaign
Joffrey's,
because it has influenced a lot more down the line, and like that character is very much alive in my
world.
Yeah. So that's fun. Man, now this has thrown me. I feel like I need a second now.
I'm trying to think of now, like, what my favorite NPC I've ever experienced was. Not just my own, just in general.
I feel like we've got simultaneously a few great arcs going on in games that I'm DMing and not DMing. Like,
I was gonna say, honestly,
I feel like every character in my Blackfire game has a really good arc going right now.
I think that J-Day's character and Loot Risk's character are both like a lot of crazy stuff has happened recently with them.
Yeah, I'm excited to see where those characters land for sure.
No.
I'm really excited for my character Kai that I mentioned earlier. His character arc, just personally, it's fun to be in that, and I don't 100% know where I'm gonna land with it. Yeah. So that's kind of fun. I've got like paths that I see in front of me.
I feel like you need to answer this question with something that's done, because like obviously I don't.
That's what I'm saying.
You can't answer about anyone in our current campaign because it would ruin it for me.
Yeah.
Or for her or him so it's kind of tough, but
yeah. I don't really have an answer to that question at all, anyways. Like, I don't know. I don't feel like any of my characters have been like either A, that impressive, or B, I've delved into enough to really explore an arc like that. I've never played with any campaign long enough to get a cool story out of it. Like, my characters have almost always been one-dimensional because that's all the time we've ever played them. They've always kind of been, that's who they are for like 4 or 5 sessions, and then we're done with it.
No, the character you played in my campaign was pretty deep.
Yeah, he was pretty deep.
Oh,
sorry, I completely forgot about that. Yeah.
That was honestly, we talked earlier, I was briefly mentioning this. We talked earlier about like telling the story versus like a DM complaining about it or like letting it happen. I'm very much a DM style that likes to just let things happen and just get to where we get to it. And it's honestly, that's one of the reasons right there. Whenever I had a situation where a whole town pretty much killed the mayor because of
Well, I don't know if I've really... Sorry.
You're fine.
I don't know if I've really dived into Emilio, because my issue with like Emilio as a character, and this is totally like just out of player, out of character, whatever. So take everything with a grain of salt. Anyone who might know this character, I don't know too much about him myself.
That's the best though, I think. Sometimes
because I like people will ask the question like, how did this happen? And I'm just kind of like, I don't know yet. I haven't thought about it. And so, like, I don't find him a very deep character. I like him.
Yeah.
And I like what other characters think about him. Because what people think about him is not what I think about him.
Yeah.
But that's because, A, I don't tell them much about him. Because, A, they don't ask. And, B, he's not the type to really get into it. He's much rather one of those characters who likes to keep, people at arm's length. Not because he doesn't trust anyone, but that's just the way he likes to be.
He's just very
There's only a specific group of people he really gets along with,
right?
And those people aren't with him anymore.
My opinion of your character is very different from my character's opinion of your character, which is so fun because there's very different opinions.
Separation.
Yeah,
and I definitely enjoy bringing that separation into my games.
Jay said, I'm trying to dive into Emilio. Like his character arc. I could have worded that better.
Kai was very upset for a second there.
Kai remember this.
What you said about your not knowing your character well, it's funny because I had a pretty good idea of my character in my current campaign with Nicholas, and he threw a huge curveball at me. So without going crazy in depth, I basically had this one thing in my character's backstory that kind of driven. It was like Thanos' world getting destroyed. It's more of a positive in the sense that he wants to be a hero.
Right.
So he has this one thing that is decided what he was gonna do.
Yeah.
And then turns out my DM turns out that my character had modified memory cast on him, and most of his childhood was a lie, and he's not even sure what's real and what's not, or if his mom dying was this big thing, and now he doesn't know if she's alive or dead, and it turns out she was kind of not super innocent, it was a part of a very pretty crazy scandal, I'll put it that way without going too far into depth.
Yeah.
But so now I'm in this situation where there's been a couple campaigns where I and my character, I'm thinking how I would do something. I go to respond to something and say something, and then I have to stop and be you know what? I don't know what he would say. And then it's fun because it's almost not a separation, because then Callan, my character, is saying the same thing. He's having this moment where he goes, well, this is how I respond to that. I'm not going to, you know what? I don't even know. I don't know. Yeah. He's having this crisis of he doesn't even know who he is anymore. And it's I still don't know what's gonna happen, and it's honestly super exciting.
I feel like 3 out of 4 characters in that campaign are having crisis of character right now.
Yeah.
And we're very much into them falling apart from what they used to be, and then we'll see what we build into.
Yeah, it's exciting.
That's mirrored in the world itself right now. Is a lot of systems are being broken, a lot of things are falling apart, but it's how is that going to be put back together?
Yeah,
I think that's the main story arc we'll see in this arc of our.
And it's exciting because we had a lot of building.
Because I'm excited. I don't know where you guys are going to land. I don't know how you're going to respond to
certain things that happen.
Yeah,
and I don't either. It's great. Honestly, my favorite dialogue I've ever had in a campaign was with J-Day's character.
Yeah.
There's this thing that my character knows that's happening with her that no one else knows, and she's wanting to keep a secret, and he feels closest to her probably in the group, and so he wants to not break her trust and keep the secret, but at the same time he's terrified, and so there's this panic conversation that we had when we were which she made a reference to earlier, we role play, we were in a cave for 3 hours of real time, and
Yeah.
Didn't hardly do anything, but it was just all this dialogue that was happening. It was so fun. I'd never felt more in character probably in a dialogue than I did then.
Yeah, and that's something
like I was panicking myself a little bit.
And that's something I'm really enjoying about playing with y'all, because like my first foray into D&D was 3.5, and my DM was very combat focused.
Mm-hmm.
Not even just like combat focused, but more like those games like Baldur's Gate and stuff like that. Like there's some story, but the story is oftentimes driven by the combat.
Right.
Right. He was not an RP DM, and 3.5 is normal for that sort of thing. And so that was my experience with D&D. And for a while, I wasn't really a big fan of D&D. Not because of that, but because I missed like a session or two, and they just took my character, did whatever with it. Like I would say, my favorite character arc is when I didn't decide my character arc at all. It's at least my most memorable,
right?
You know. But it's just like, for a while I was just like, whatever, I don't care about this game. But playing with y'all and stuff like that, it's just like being able to like RP and like get into it is a lot more fun. Yuri's got a couple dumb questions. We'll go through them.
Oh.
Number one.
Chicken nuggets?
No, but in the same vein. First time you go to someone's house, which one of you are actually able to lay a deuce?
Oh, I did. Okay.
Both of y'all?
Yeah.
Okay, both of them. Yeah. I wouldn't. First time I'm at someone's house, I avoid the bathroom.
So I will as well, but the problem is that I just can't. Like, I just have.
Oh, I can't.
I have.
I just don't care. I just don't care.
I have like a. I
He's
just
more
yeah.
like
Yeah.
I just
I don't.
if I have to go, I know I have to go. Like there's no like if I hold it, I just have like a bad stomach. I'll just get sick, and I can't do that. So, but I'm on the toilet. I definitely take Chris Pratt's advice, and as soon as if I go to someone's house and I poop, I love how I'm going so into depth with this. No one wanted this.
Someone wanted
someone did, I guess.
Someone wanted
If I go to someone's house
Not me.
and I don't remember it was my first time I have to poop, I poop and then I immediately flush and then I wipe, so that the poop is already down the drain and it's not perpetually like stinking up the bathroom. And that's advice Chris Pratt gave in one of his speeches when he won an award.
That's funny.
It was like 10 rules of life, and like a lot of them were very serious.
Yeah.
You know, thank God every day, you know, be respectful. And like number 10 is like, if you ever go to someone's house and you have to poop and you think it's going to be stinky, as soon as you drop that log, flush the toilet.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just a warning to anyone out there that I might go to their house. Like, if you don't want me to poop at your house, don't invite me in. So that's my advice there.
You can.
I would be the least likely. He would be the semi most likely, and he would be the most likely. That's the answer. The second one.
Oh boy.
I know the answer to this question.
Those are poop-related questions.
Which of you three would win in a three-way tickle fight?
Mano.
Me. By far. I'm not ticklish.
Yeah. He has. We have history of this. He has one.
Yeah.
Easy answer. Me.
Yeah.
That'd be like.
Right.
Yeah. That'd be like, who would win a fight? You and Superman. Do I have kryptonite? No. Okay. Right. Superman.
No. Lucy. First time I went to someone's house and they didn't tell me one of the toilets clogged really easy.
Oh,
guess what happened?
No.
Oh no!
I also like.
That's brutal.
I sit down to pee at people's house so I don't spray.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So,
I get that.
Oh, I don't. You think I'm gonna sacrifice my made-up manliness to sit on the toilet to pee?
I was gonna say, if it's the morning, I always sit down to pee.
Oh, I never.
But honestly, it's very bad
If it's
habit.
in the morning, I'm.
I will in the morning too.
Oh.
Well, I hit.
Not like as soon as I wake up.
Oh yeah, just straight to the bathroom. That's my plan.
Yeah.
Well then, yeah, I would stand up too.
I went at a right angle once, just straight into the wall.
That's happened to me before.
Right after I woke up,
Yeah,
just right
It's
into
just
the wall.
sometimes that morning pee. It's just like you don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, it's like I'm aimed. I'm zeroed in. We're perfect, and then it's just.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's
Fun
a-
times.
Hey, I'm gonna tell.
I never keep anything important by the toilet.
I mean-
like I just don't.
Oh yeah.
There's no reason. It's going to be peed on. I'm sorry. You're good.
I'm gonna tell a quick poop story because it's really funny.
It's topical. It's topical.
Yeah. I'm gonna make it. So when I was 12, like old enough to not poop my pants, I was at my aunt and uncle's house in Texas.
I love how you start this with old enough to know better.
That's why this story is so funny. because I was old enough to be devious enough to cover it up, but old enough that I shouldn't have had to be devious enough to cover it up because I shouldn't have had to because I shouldn't have pooped my pants. But anyway, and there were circumstances that led to it. But basically, there was like my uncle and I have a huge family as well. We have a big family, and we had a ton of people staying in their house that wasn't that big. They had 2 bathrooms. That's it. We were all trying to get ready for church in the morning, and like I was kind of sick. Like I don't know what was going on. I had some stomach bug, and so like when I had to go to the bathroom, much like I was saying earlier, I needed to go. So every time I go to the bathroom, one of my cousins would be in there, and it's like I'm not done. And I had to go so bad, and I'm sitting on the floor of the bedroom that my parents slept in. My mom just like doing her hair, and I'm sitting there just with all of my focus trying to not poop my pants. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, just a little, and then Amy just boom. I'm just sitting there, and I'm sure I look mortified.
It's a sound
I'm
effect.
sure I look so mortified because my mom's getting ready. After a little while, she's like, "Did you fart?" And I was like, "Yup, that's all that smell is. I just farted." And then finally, I get to go to the bathroom to take a shower. So I get in the tub, take my underwear off, ball it up, rinse it out in the sink. And then
in the sink?
Yeah, I don't know why I know.
No!
I scrubbed the sink down afterwards, but I then dumped the trash out of the trash can, put my underwear at the bottom of the trash can, which still was very it was not solid, by the way. Put all the trash back on top of it, showered, went about the rest of my day. And I know at some point that bathroom had to smell terrible, and when they took the trash out, they were just like, "This smells so bad." But yeah, that's how I covered up pooping my pants at my aunt and uncle's house when I was 12 years old.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it was bad.
That's awful.
I was panicked, dude. I was so panicked. Like, can you just imagine, 12 years old, a house full of, I'm the youngest of my family and my aunt and uncle's family. So I got picked on hardcore all the time. Like, I was just like, they can never know. They can never know. I have to cover it. I'll never hear the end of it. Which now I tell this story to them all the time. I think it's hilarious. But yeah, the amount of anxiety I had as a 12-year-old in that moment was insane.
That is awful.
It was so bad.
Oh man.
Yeah. But anyway, poop. Do we have any more comments?
We've got a couple. I don't know if any of them are questions.
Well, read them. I can't hear him. So
Lucas says, I can't hear him either.
What?
Lucas says, you dummy. Lucas says he would also mess up a bathroom.
Yeah.
Like, no problem.
Yeah.
I apparently seem to be the odd one out here. J-Day asked, what about a pillow fight? Who would win in a pillow fight?
That would be chaos for sure.
It would definitely be.
Because I think, well, even Nicholas is this way too. We're all pretty competitive. We're all very competitive. Like, what would end up happening is that
Nick
something
is
would get broken.
I think Nick would bow out first.
Probably, but it just depends because
like he's ultra competitive. Like all you have to do is give your best for like 5 minutes, and then he's out.
When we were kids, he wasn't like that, but probably now he's just gotten smarter.
Oh yeah.
I'm just still.
Talking about poop?
No, we're talking about pillow fights.
Oh, okay.
We still talking about poop?
Now we are.
Oh dang it!
I honestly
blame
don't know.
myself.
I think it would just come down to which one of us would finally just say this is stupid, and I don't know how long it would take.
I don't know how long it would take. Like between you and
It'd be
me,
a long
'cause
time.
I'm out. Yeah.
Yeah, what's what we said?
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a pillow fight.
Right. I know. I caught that.
I said like
I know
think you would
this.
be first out. You would give it like your all at first, and then
Yeah.
you'd just be.
I'd just be like, this is dumb.
That's exactly what I said.
I don't want to do this anymore.
That's exactly what I said. I think things would get broken before one of us quit. That's all I know. I don't know who would win, but something would get broken.
See, the thing is,
Not bones.
Nick would be going like all out at first, but at least me, I don't know about you, I would be taking it easy on Nick, because at no point do I want to knock the glasses off his face.
Oh, I mean, I assume that if we're playing a pillow fight, he's taking his glasses off.
I assume not. I assume he
not, too.
just has them on, and then it's not even like a moment where he's like, "Oh, we're about to fight." He's just, "Oh, let's go."
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I would jump in initially.
I would not
just-
worry about that because I would think you should have taken your glasses off. That's all.
I would worry about it, so it's nothing but body shots for me.
Do you have contacts?
No.
Okay, I would be easy then. If he doesn't
You
have
think
another...
Sarah would stop it?
First of all, I would.
Sarah would look disappointed from the side.
First of all, if Sarah tried to stop it, I would hit her so hard in the face with a pillow that she wouldn't know it.
It would immediately become.
Wow.
Saying that made me feel so. I could never do that to Sarah.
I know.
It's so nice.
I knew you could.
That's such a lie.
It was
It
a
would
joke.
immediately become a
It was
jump.
a joke.
Yeah.
Like Sarah would get in the middle, and all three of us
We would be like,
Sarah.
so.
Oh yeah, we'd hit her. We just wouldn't hit her in the face.
Sarah could just look at me and I'd probably be like, I'm sorry.
You'd oh yeah.
It just become a jump at that point. I don't know. Like, Nick's out, right?
Yeah.
It's me and you.
I really can't answer. I don't know.
I don't know.
Because honestly, just because I want to say the easiest thing is I've never been in a pillow fight with you, so I wouldn't know. But I really haven't. I just know from very, very little experience with you that we've had that you are competitive and you wouldn't want to give up. And
Exactly.
I know that I'm that way too.
Yeah, exactly. And the other thing is like,
Stupidly so, I'm that way.
I mean, I don't know what like your history is with like the game, the dumb games like Bloody Knuckle or rock, paper slap, stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Like I was just the guy who just it didn't matter.
Yeah. I would.
My way to win, like rock, paper, slap, which is rock, paper, scissors while you're holding hands, so it's rock, paper, whoever wins slaps the hand in the hand, right? It's like, that's how it goes, right? And so, I would win, not because I won rock, paper, scissors more, because I slapped harder and didn't give up after getting slapped more times.
Yeah. When I was a kid, I was the youngest of 5, and so like all my brothers, friends would come over, we'd wrestle, and I would lose a lot, but I would literally almost pass out. Like a lot of times they would have to be like, you have to stop, he's gonna pass out. Because I just refused to tap out. Like I was stupidly wouldn't, I didn't want to give up. I had little man syndrome for sure too.
Yeah.
And I still kind of do probably a little bit, to be honest, but. He was playing the world's smallest violin, right? Or were you doing something else?
No, yeah, definitely world's smallest violin. Not doing it.
Yeah, and like, I kind of was the same way with. Like,
when he got
wrestling.
mad, that's when it was bad. Like when he would get mad when he was young, he wouldn't.
I would
There's
get
no
scrappy,
bars
but
hold.
only whenever I was angry.
Yeah.
You see, I knew someone like that. I still beat them though. 'Cause,
I still got beat like
Yeah.
most of the time, but
Especially back then, you were
Yeah.
like, I mean, I was skinny, but you were like really, really skinny now. You
Yeah.
filled out a lot now and
Thank
look really
you.
good.
Yeah, like I knew someone like that who would only like get
You're welcome.
serious about something when they got mad.
Yeah.
And so we were playing tap out, we were all like grappling. I had him, and the only thing he would do is just get a red face, and he'd like go. He's like struggling and everything. I'm just like, just give up, just tap out, you know. And he's just not. Until
Dude.
my buddies are like, you know, we're just, you won, but we're
Yeah,
separating that.
That's what they have to do to me. I was that guy a lot of times. But
Yeah.
again, when that happened, I was like 9 and they were like 14. Like
Yeah.
now with Nicholas, I would have to choke him out, and he would get on my chokeholds all the time because that boy slobbered so. Dude, I would quit
I
sometimes.
knew you were gonna bring that
I
up.
would quit sometimes because my arm would just be covered in blood. I was like, this is disgusting.
Hey, use all of the
his
tools at
chin-
your advantage.
He'd be able to. I'd have him in a chokehold, and I'd be like, he can't get his chin down, and just be like, stop, because it was so glued up.
It's so
Yep.
gross.
It was
Yeah.
nasty.
So gross.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
gross.
I never got like choked out to the point where I had to tap because I was just.
Yeah, I usually had to do like arm bars or like
Yeah.
just get you pinned somehow or like your.
I've been
legs.
knocked out once like that. Like
Yeah.
blacked out off of a tap game. It only happened once. After that, I was like,
Multiple
okay,
times.
I'm tapping when I feel that way because that sucked.
Yeah. I got knocked out. My brothers and I used to spar, and I got knocked out from a punch. That was weird.
Yeah.
But it was kind of like how you'd see in a fight where, like, again, this is how stupid I was. I got hit, fell backwards, hit the wall, came back to, and then just started coming at him again.
Yeah.
And then everyone, like, jumped in because that had never happened before. Well, they're like, whoa! Are you, like, you know that you just passed out? And I was like, nah, I just lost my... What happened for 2 seconds?
Yeah.
I don't... Like, it was weird.
I've blacked out multiple times, never from fighting.
Dude, the scariest time was on the trampoline.
Yeah, I was.
That was so scary to watch.
We
to
were
be
like,
there.
I was like 10, maybe 9 or 10, and like one of like the teenagers, like 14, 15, that was like bouncing with us, and they like threw me in the air, and I landed on my back, and my head bounced, and my chin hit my chest, and I blacked out.
That was scary though, because he bounced so high, he blacked out, but then he bounced back up, and like, I mean, he was just ragdolled in the air. He just It was scary.
Yeah.
Because he was just loose in the air and just.
And then his mom was like, "The big kids aren't allowed on the trampoline with the little kids."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And that was my older brothers and stuff all the time.
Definitely.
They just always were trying to.
The whiplash on that.
It was. I also blacked out from gagging because I smelled cat food. Cat food triggers me for some reason.
What?
And I was like,
I didn't even
I
know
went to
this.
feed the cats in the morning, like before school, and I started like choking and gagging, and then I don't know what I did, but my little sister's like sitting there eating breakfast. She's like, "Mom, Nicholas is having a conniption," and then I just fell, just smacked my head like really hard on the ground, and she of course freaked out, and I got to not go to school that day, so that was great. But yeah, so that one was weird. And then once at school, someone had taken this piece of wood and bolted a weight to it and screwed that onto the bottom of a traffic cone. And it was in like the shop area, and me and my friends were goofing around in the shop area, and I'm the only one who's wearing safety goggles, by the way, the safety glasses. And one of my friends grabs and he swings, and he didn't know that it had that on the bottom of it, and it came off and went flying over my friend's head and hit me in the chest.
Yeah.
And I like coughed a little bit, and they're like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah," and then I passed out.
You used to just pass out a lot.
And I hit the safety glasses, cut the side of my face.
Oh,
yeah.
And I was like, I was the one who was actually wearing the safety protection.
they didn't
and
have-
it
it caused me pain.
Yeah, it caused me pain. I was so
I think
mad.
the craziest like knockout I've seen, we were playing Red Rover,
Mhm.
and this girl, she just got like arm barred to the throat, did like a whole flip, just passed out on that whole motion, and everyone's just like, oh, because it's just like, it was just, and it wasn't like a clean flip, it was like a hit the ground like back and head area, and just the roll kept going because of the inertia of her running into it.
Yeah.
And then kind of rolled out, and you're just like, oh no. Whoa. I think she was the daughter of the librarian. I think that was.
It's always the daughter of the librarian.
God, watch those library doctors.
They love those arm bars. I remember one time. Now we're just telling stories, but I enjoy this. I love telling stories.
That's the point, right?
Yeah. When I was pretty young, I just learned how to ride on two wheels without training wheels, which was like huge for us because we lived in the country, so I could only ride my bike on the sidewalk or in the garage, which is like basically circles. What do we got?
Luke Risk said the one time we've seen something like I saw something like that. Someone ragdolled and just didn't move. Everyone just bolted. Like, we're not a part of it.
Wow, that's messed up. That's super messed up.
Yeah.
We killed him.
Run!
Oh no.
Jeez. Anyway, yeah. So I just learned how to ride on two wheels, and how our yard is like. My parents, the house is here, and then the road's here. There's a flat, even front yard, and a flat, even front yard, and then the backyard's flat, and then there's this one spot where it's like a big hill.
Yeah.
And so my mom was like, "Don't go down that hill because you don't really know how to use your brakes very well." And I was like, "Of course, mother. I will listen to what you've said."
I know what you're talking
and then
about.
I went down the hill, and I didn't know how to use my brakes, and it was scary, but I didn't crash. So
Oh, okay.
I was like,
So you're good.
I can do it again.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I did it again, and I went probably a little more confidently down the steepest part of the hill.
Mhm.
And this is, again, the world is getting insights into young Eli's idiotic way of thinking. I couldn't use my brakes. I was too scared to jump off the bike, because I did think that's what I should do, is just jump off the bike. I couldn't figure out. I was going so fast, I couldn't get my brakes. Like I was young, and I didn't know how to do it. I don't know how old it was, but I was pretty young.
Yeah.
So I couldn't jump off the bike. I was too scared that I was going to get hurt. Funny to look back now thinking this. Too scared I was gonna get hurt by jumping off the bike, so I'm going down a hill, but then we have a wood in our house that's like a big drop off. And if I went down that, then I would have crashed bad. Probably would have broken a bone. So I see this tree and I think to myself, if I hit that tree, I'm not going to go down the woods. I'm not going to crash. I'll hit that tree and it'll stop my bike.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. So I'm going pretty fast, and I hit the front tire, hit the tree, and exactly what you think. I mean, just whack! I mean, just my face just boom into the tree hard. And then I just remember opening my eyes on the ground and my head, the front of my head throbbing. And I remember walking up the hill, and it literally felt like I was walking like this. Like I had a concussion. But I just remember thinking, like, it felt like I was walking straight up the hill. And I finally get up the hill, like, stumbling. I'm really disoriented. And I see my sister, and I'm about to say, does my head look okay? Before I could say that, she literally just goes, ah! And then runs inside. So then I was like, this is probably bad. This is probably not good. If I'm eliciting screams the moment someone sees me, this is not good. So if you've the eye of not Sauron, that's what my forehead looked like. It was like a big goose egg with a slit down the middle. Yeah. And so I had a concussion, and I wanted to go to sleep. My parents wouldn't go to sleep.
That's funny.
Yeah, but I mean, I just remember it was so fast. Like, and as a kid, in my head, I thought that what was gonna happen, because I'm dumb, is that it was gonna go boom. Like, that's what I pictured in my head. Yeah. And so it was just this moment of like, oh no, it was just so instant. Boom! Like, I mean, just slammed into the tree. Oh, it hurt.
Got a real lesson in the laws of physics.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I did.
That's amazing.
So I didn't go down that hill for a while.
As a kid, like, I never really did anything too crazy like that. Oh, like, I did crazy things, but I never got like punished for it. Like, karma just never came to reap the rewards.
I should have gotten hurt so much more. Yeah, we did dumb stuff.
I never broke an arm or anything. Like, I would do dumb things. Like, the moment I could think of the most that I was like, that was a bad idea, is like, I was on a bike. It was a little yellow mongoose, and I was going towards like this tree log, and I was like, I'm gonna just roll over it because it's a round tire. Yeah. It's a round thing, and I didn't, and it just immediately handlebars to groin.
Oh yeah.
It was just, I rolled on the ground for a little bit. It hurt. Like, the time I've been like the most injured, I played ice hockey, and like I just caught an elbow from someone, and I went sideways and up, almost flipped. Like, it was just because they weren't really trying to hit me; they were trying to like dodge. But as they dodged, they threw out their elbow. Yeah. And I caught it here, went sideways into the boards, and like my head's up against the board here. My body's hitting the ice here, and it just snaps. So my clavicle got separated from my sternum.
Oh my gosh!
At first, I didn't feel it. I was just like, "Oh, we're up." That hurt. And so I get to the bench, and I'm like, just trying to rotate. I'm feeling something move, but it still like doesn't hurt yet. And then I get out on the ice again because I'm not thinking about it. Adrenaline's going. Like, my body does not recognize that I've hurt myself yet. And then I throw my first pass, and like, so this motion happens, and I just feel it.
It's making it's hurting. It's hurting me.
And so immediately I get back to the bench, and I'm like, this is not normal. This isn't good. And so my buddy, like, he lifts the jersey and like the padding, and he sees like this is raised like this much higher than this one, and he's like, that's not good. You need to stop playing right now, and you need to figure something out. Yeah, it was yikes. It was tough. It hurt.
Oh my gosh. Can you tell the corkscrew story? Is that right?
The corkscrew?
Is that oil?
Oh. I'm an idiot.
I was like, I make fun of myself, and we were all stupid kids.
I've altered this story so much just because I'm like,
I know the story.
I don't want to like, I don't want to be like.
Don't worry, I'm here. If you don't tell the true story,
I will,
because I was there.
So it's my 11th birthday, and we're like. We like set up a tent next to my garage, and like we were like goofing around in the garage,
playing
like,
Twister,
staying up all night.
Yeah. Supposed to be pulling all-nighter.
Yeah, we're in the tent, and we're like doing dumb stuff, like dumb like dares. What? No. Okay.
We're doing dares.
We're doing dumb dares, and someone said to take
your shirt and your pants off.
Take my shirt and my pants off, and swing it around my head, yet screaming, "I'm an idiot."
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So I'm like running around doing that, and then we're goofing around. His brother gets out of the tent and is like doing something else with me. Like we're running around doing something. Forget exactly what it was. And the other three people were inside the tent. And they like lock us out of the tent. And his brother's like, hey, dude, get your pants back on. And he tosses it, and I was like bent over to the side, like grabbing like my shirt or something, and it hit me in the back of my head. I had a pocket knife in my pocket.
With a corkscrew on it.
With a corkscrew on it.
On the outside.
And it hit me, and I was like, oh, ow, that kind of hurt, you know? So I like put my pants back on. I still don't have my shirt on. And I'm like, I move around, and I'm like, there's something on me. And I like put my hand back, and I like wipe it across my back. And there's like this black oil.
It's pitch black.
Yeah, it's pitch black outside. It looks like black oil on my hands, and I was like,
yeah.
what did I get on me? And so I go over to the tent, and I'm like, hey guys, can you shine a light out here? Do I have oil on my back? And they shine, and I just hear, bro, you have blood on your back. And it was just like all over my back.
His parents were pissed. It was like 3 in the morning.
So
we had to wake them up.
His brother goes with me. The other three that were in the tent were like, we're not getting in trouble. Oh, yeah. We weren't part of this.
That was me as a kid, by the way. I was always like, oh.
So yeah, we go to the house, and they like, my mom like rinses me off, and we get it figured out. I went back out there, and we spent the rest of the night. But yeah, it was.
No, didn't we sleep inside the house after that?
No, we continued the rest of the yeah.
Oh yeah, we just went back.
I was pale at first, and that's what they were like. You're pale and covered in blood. This is very bad. But
did you get bit by a vampire?
Yeah. That's a weird spot to bite me. But yeah, so I did alter the story of like which I altered the story in a way that made his brother sound bad. I was like, oh yeah, he tossed me my pocket knife, and it hit me in the back of the head.
Yeah.
I didn't say that it was my pants because. That led to the question of
why were you not having pants on?
Why did you have your pants on?
See, I would just deflect and be like, it was a sleepover. What do you mean?
Yeah, I was sleeping. Yeah.
We had a lot of times your parents probably wanted to kill us.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I want to kill y'all.
There's a video that's still out there, which I hope we can find it, because if we find it, we need to put it on a short YouTube video just to show if we ever could find it. Probably not, but we used to take his camcorder, which that's kind of, this is a podcast, so I think I'll just mention it. We've talked about it in videos in the past, but like we've always wanted to do a YouTube channel since we were young. Like we've always talked, we used to pretend to have like a fake YouTube channel where we just would video each other on a camcorder. It'd be like 3 a.m. We'd be like running around the house videoing, and then we'd hear his mom get up, so we'd run back in the bed. She totally thought we were asleep. Yeah. But we have a video. We were in his basement, and I don't remember if he like did it with his hands or not, but you just see like
we were fake fighting.
Yeah, we were fake fighting.
And I like, you threw a punch at me, and I jumped backwards onto the couch, and I smacked the light fixture, and there's like a globe around the light bulb, and it fell straight down and did not shatter the light bulb, and I caught it on my way down.
But it's so funny in frame, because like if this is your frame, you just see Nicholas up, something fall, and then Nicholas jump back up with it in his hands going.
Yeah,
like,
and he was like, "Oh my god!"
Like, "Oh my gosh, this is cool." We thought it was the craziest thing ever, but just the frame of him, like so quickly, boom, panic. I got it.
Yeah, I was like, I stood up, I was like, "What is happening?" But yeah,
that's pretty good.
Yeah.
We also had a time at my parents' house that we were lightsaber fighting in the dark. I had one lightsaber that lit up. The other lightsaber did not light up, so you couldn't see that one coming. Very smart. Right. There was 3 of us, and we were like, we kept trading around who had what lightsabers. And we went into one of the bedrooms, and our buddy Sam was like out in the hallway, and we were the ones with lightsabers. And we both like went to swing at each other, and we both caught the other lightsaber at the same time. And I spun, and I threw him across the bed, and just let go of both lightsabers. I took off out into the hall, and I was going to duck into the next room and try to find some weaponry. And it was, again, pitch black. I would have made it through the doorway.
Yeah.
Because I knew where I was.
I forgot that I remember.
And I shoulder check the Sam, who I didn't know was in the hallway at the time. I shoulder check him, so it throws me off just enough to smash my face into the door frame. I fall onto the ground, my glasses go off to the side. I'm just like laying face down, and I'm like crawling across the floor like, and then Eli comes in there and just starts hitting me in the back with a lightsaber.
Because I thought like we were fighting, you know, so I thought maybe he like got hit by Sam and was just like, and so I was like, oh, finish him off.
Yeah,
I just start beating. He's actually injured for real, and I'm just beating him with a lightsaber.
And then he like stops for a second. He's like, "Oh, I don't think he's faking."
Yeah.
Turns on the light. And there's like blood on the floor. I like busted open my eye. I still have a scar like on my eyebrow right here from it.
That was a funny story. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. One time we his oh, you're hurt?
Yeah. I'll finish him.
One time his brother-in-law, I grew up hanging out with him, and we played we would play with a 2-liter bottle and a katana that he owned, which was was sharp.
As you do. Like, if you have a katana and a water bottle, what's the next
but then
step?
He would throw the
they
he'd sit on one side of the room, and I'd stand there, and he'd throw it at me and swing it. So we were trying to cut it. We couldn't. Well, we would do it multiple times. We did it multiple times, and then we like played video games, took a break, and we came back. And I think we'd either like that the 2-liter got thrown away, or we grabbed another one. But it was a different 2-liter, and it was my turn to pitch. And there was about that much liquid still in it.
Yeah.
The other one was empty. So I toss it, and I remember seeing it. He swings at it, hits it. And I watch that thing, like I'm ready to try and catch it or whatever. I watch it go in the air, it flips, and then it stops. And then just rockets. Because the water, I guess, like, all went to the cap end at once.
Yeah.
And I mean, it seriously was like, it was going 5 miles an hour, and then it just immediately went to 20. Like, that's how I can describe it. How it just, like, it was going this speed, and then all of a sudden, it rocketed. And it smacked me so hard. I had a goose egg that stuck out like this big. And I lied to my mom and told her that I fell when we were wrestling and hit the wall, because I was like, I'm definitely not telling her that we were swinging katana at each other. Like,
yeah. Yeah.
But
I'm glad that's where the story went, though.
Yeah.
Because, like, in my head, I'm imagining, like, y'all baseball swinging it, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like, all you gotta do is release it once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's a problem.
Yeah, and we were definitely swinging it more like a katana than a baseball, for sure.
If you're swinging it like this, you're definitely not swinging it like this.
Well, not like a baseball is what I mean. We're swinging it like a sword.
Yeah.
More of hacking, not like
not a swing.
Yeah, not
Yeah.
We were trying. The whole point is we were trying to cut the bottle.
Right.
And that was also the issue too, is that normally the bottle didn't come at you, but this time he did go more for a side swing. So I guess he did kind of swing it more like a baseball bat that time.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just shout out to Luke for giving my head a goose egg.
That's funny. Yeah, that's something interesting though. Like when people like first get a sword, like everyone has this just like moment where it's like I have to stab or cut something.
Anything. Yeah.
Anything. Cardboard box.
Tree. Whatever.
Something's got to get hit now.
Yeah.
Like that's just how it is. But it's like people don't understand like how swords work. Like one of the most important aspects of swinging a sword is what's called edge alignment, and it's getting that edge perfectly so that when it makes contact,
Right.
it can cut.
Yeah.
Right. Because the thing about swinging and hitting with a sword, right? You have to have the edge alignment, so you have to have it to like hit it perfectly, mostly perfectly for like a good cut, right? And then the follow through, right? You have to be able to follow through because the follow through drags the sword through the cut.
Right.
Yeah.
And most people, they hit. Once contact is made, that's where it stops. So the cuts always look terrible. So that's the thing. And then people like, if they don't get the cut they want, they start swinging harder. And typically, it's not the strength of your slash that was the problem. It's you're just not swinging properly because you don't know. And so people just start really hammering it. So I can just imagine like, you want that thing to cut so badly. Yeah. And you just, it's not happening because you're
it hurts like so bad.
Or rolling it, you know, and just.
Oh, it hurts so bad.
Eventually, until it gets into this, you know, baseball swing where it's just everything I've got is going into this one, and I'm gonna cut it. Yeah. First off, you don't even cut it. Second off,
never cut it once. Wish you would have cut it. Definitely wouldn't have put down the way it did. Oh yeah. I used to have a lot of swords growing up.
Yeah.
I would buy them from pawn shops and stuff. And we had a speech class one year. Our teacher was really cool. I went to a private Christian school in Martinsville, and the person who did the speech class was like sick or was out of the country. I can't remember what it was, but since they didn't have a replacement, so the youth pastor of the church just like taught us. he didn't know anything about like speech or anything like that. But one of the things you had to do in speech class was prepare a play, and you had to, like we performed it at what was called Eagle Club, where like all the parents would come and they try and get donations and stuff. And we performed it, like a 3-act play. But we did like this pirate play. It was actually really fun because it was this super cheesy like these pirates who hunt for chocolate and then they get like turned over to Jesus, and we basically told the youth pastor that was the cheesiest, stupidest like story ever. So we cut out the second half and wrote our own. He let us write our own play, which was really fun. I mean, he had to read
That's
it.
awesome.
He had to read it, but that's why he was such a great teacher, is because he was like, I don't know, sure, I guess. Like he didn't know what he was like doing, but it also kind of worked out. So we got to write it, and he like read it and had the principal read it to make sure that like it would be okay.
Yeah.
And so it was a lot. It was still really cheesy because we had to use the very end the same, like where they like basically turn over to Jesus, and it was just very cheesy the way that they did it. But it was fun. But what happened was he didn't tell the principal, but I told the teacher because he was so cool. I was like, hey, Pastor Ross. I was like, I have real swords and they're not sharp, which they weren't. I was like, we could sneak and use those in the play because then it would make that clang sound. He's like, come to school tomorrow, drive to the back, my truck will be there. He said, yes, I'm telling you to bring swords to school. Also, I'm telling you to give them to me immediately.
Yeah.
And we did. And so then he kept them in a prop case that no one could get to. It stayed locked.
Yeah.
They were my swords, which is always something that I felt was so cool. I was like, those are my swords. But we used it, like, first time we practiced the play. We choreographed the fight scene, too, because we wrote the whole play, this part of the play. So we choreographed this fight scene where we're, like, stepping on these stairs that go up. And we're, like, going up and down them, and we swap and jump. And, dude, the clang sound was so good. And I just remember we always would, if, like, we had fake plastic swords, too. If the principal ever came and watched, we would use those. But the night of the play, we used it, and I remember the principal being like, were those that sounded so, were those real? And, like, was pretty upset about it. That's all you could do. It was so awesome.
That's so cool.
Dude, the first 3 months of that class, all we did was play improv games. It was our last class of the day, and we just got to end the, like, we had study hall and that, so we just got to play improv games. Like, he was like, it's speech class, so I looked up a bunch of improv games online, so we're going to try and play these. And it was just the most fun class.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Didn't you like cut the belt on accident?
Oh, so
you cut the belt off.
So one thing that happened, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
So we had a really good group of people who were like good improvers, and I had a belt. I had like a white, fluffy. What are those called? Like, what's that called? Like the fluffy, neck that goes all the way down. Whatever that's called. Like a pirate shirt.
Oh, I know what you're talking
Yeah.
about.
Something with a B, I think. But anyway, and then I had like this red trench coat, like very French kind of looking pirate, which I was a French pirate. So anyway, I had that on, and the only thing that kept the shirt together, the overcoat, didn't have a button or a zip or anything. It just had a belt to hold together, and I didn't have a sheath for any of my swords, so everyone just had their swords in their belts. Well, my specific sword, the one that I was using, it was really cheap metal, and so through practicing with it. It dinged the metal and it got jagged. It was almost like it was a serrated blade because it was so jagged. Well, in the play, I have this moment where I pull my sword out and I go, "On guard!" You just hit your head on a doorknob.
I did.
You doorknob.
Get doorknobbed.
But anyway, so we're performing this play and I pull my sword out and I go, "On guard!" And when I pull it out, because I'd done it so many times, it cut the belt. So my belt just falls and my shirt opens up. And I pick it up with my sword, the belt, and I was like, I think I said something like, "Oh, they make these things so cheap these days." And then like the guy I'm supposed to be fighting is like, "They really do. They just..." And like we had this whole moment, this totally improv, and I just throw the belt into the crowd and someone catches it. And everyone thought that was just supposed to happen. And we're like, yeah, no, that was not supposed to happen. I did not mean to cut. And then the next scene, I ended up taking my jacket off because it just flowed so bad. It was so long. I didn't wear it the rest of the play. But yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah,
I had to hold my sword the rest of the play, but oh dude, it was fun. That was one of my favorite moments. I really miss acting. Like it was so fun in high school. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I never really did anything too much like that. I never did like improv or like actual acting. I did musicals, sing, dance, like choreography. I did a lot of that, but a lot of that is like you're coming at this mark. Like I've always been a music person.
Right.
So it's like I can read music, I can count steps, I just do ha, you know, kind of thing. That's always how I've been. I've never been really acting. It's like, oh, a moment happens. I'm just like,
Yeah.
It's just not something I'm used to.
It was so fun.
It is though.
And I think that's one of the reasons I really love D&D too, because like it's like kind of my outlet for like still getting to do stuff like that a little bit. Like that's why I love role playing so much.
Yeah.
Because I loved acting. I really miss it, and I never would have done it except that I got to my freshman year. I went to a tiny school, and one of the seniors got what's that word? Kicked out of school.
Oh.
Expelled.
Yeah. Wow, it's hard.
Words are hard.
Words are hard.
Yeah.
He got expelled, and it was supposed to be like
No.
no. There was 6 seniors, and it was supposed to be a senior play where they did competition, like for actual competition, for state competition. And he got expelled, and there were no other seniors, and so it was my freshman year, my first year there, and of course, like you think I'm dramatic now, like when I was younger, it was really bad. Like I was super, super, just high energy all the time. And the play director just came up to me at lunch, and he goes, I'll never forget, he goes, You're really ridiculous. Do you think that you would want to do this play? And I was just like, I've never even thought about doing anything like that. But I did that, and then after that, I was just like, sign me up for everything that is. That's the best.
Yeah.
I got to play Sherlock once and like a duet acting thing. It was so fun. Yeah.
I very much don't like doing that stuff in front of people.
Yeah.
I'm very much not that person, and D&D has really helped me like get into RP and like actually I enjoy it. I just also I'm not like the person who's gonna be able to play.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not the person who's gonna go up on stage and sing. Like I'm not that person. So,
And I also never like. I mean, now looking back, I would say, of course, that's the personality that I have. But when I was younger, I just didn't know that I was into that, and I didn't want to do the play. I really didn't want to do it, but I kind of like the principal was like saying you should do it, and my friends were telling me I should do it. But then once I did, it was like that was when I was like, oh, this is kind of who I am. I like performing.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
But yeah.
and I mean like we're doing this with our YouTube channel. Yeah, like that's
we're literally live streaming to people. You're
Right.
on stage right
You're
now.
on stage.
but like I'm an introvert, not in like I'm incapable of like I've had people say, oh well I couldn't do that, like I couldn't record that and everything. I'm an introvert, but it's like whenever it's just you guys here,
Right.
I could do it fine. If I was like on stage in front of people, like that's where I'm like
turn this into a studio audience.
Yeah.
You don't want to go down on stage.
Oh.
I think those things make you like hyper aware of like when you're flopping terribly.
right.
Like imagine
also
we
make
say
you
the joke
perform
and
better.
we're like laughing at it, and then nobody else
Yeah.
is. And we just be like,
Those are terrible moments. That's what I call, and then I found $20 moment. Like when you when you tell a story and everyone just kind of like whatever, they're like, and then I found $20. Like you just want to say anything to make the story sound better. You're like, please just be like, oh well, that's cool at least. Like just anything.
I've also been told like I'm good at public speaking,
You are,
but I hate to do it.
You can
I
tell
had
when you do it, you're nervous. Like when you did the wedding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I married people. Like I forgot about that. Why did I forget about that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
that was one that the time you did really well, but I could also tell you were super nervous.
I could turn it on, but I'm just like I get so nervous about it.
yeah.
And I do like anytime I do those plays. Right before I went out on that stage, I mean, my heart was beating out of my chest.
Yeah.
But then once you're out there and like it's just do or die, there's something about it that like I'll be way funnier and perform better with a big audience. Where like I know like I'm performing for people. There's something that brings it out of you, and that's a cool feeling.
I did have this work thing where we were supposed to like prepare like a presentation, and I just fully improvised it. And my boss was like, "Oh my gosh, you were amazing!" And like everyone there, like they were like, "You did the best presentation." And I was like, I just sat back and was like, basically they were like, "You can go to the front of the room, but you don't have to. You could just stand at your seat, give the presentation." There was like 8 people in there, and I was like, I'm gonna keep like letting other people go first so I can like think through what I want to do. And I was like, no one's getting up, no one's going to the front. I'm gonna go to the front. And then like it was about like cost prevention, and like I decided we had like this candy off to the side that like we could have, and I was like, I'm gonna go grab that candy and I'm gonna be like, do you like money? And I went around to each person, I was like, do you like money? And I gave them a piece of candy. And then as I walked back around, I walked over to someone and I took their candy, and I was like, "You probably don't like whenever your buddy gets taken, do you? So like, let's talk about how we prevent this from happening." And so, and like
Doing
everyone was
stuff
like,
like-
"Oh my gosh, that was amazing!"
Doing stuff like that's the kind of
but
stuff.
it was fully improvised. Like, it was
That's
just
the
like,
kind of stuff that happens when you. That's why I think
Yeah.
improvisation is so important, even in public speaking. Like
Right.
whenever I would do a speech in school, or like I always would have to learn my lines, but I would never like perform a line the way that I practiced it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
I always did what felt in that moment like more natural, and that's why I would do the speeches too. Like I obviously knew like, okay, these are the parameters in which I need to be like in, and I definitely sometimes, you guys know this, know me as long as you know me, even Mano knowing me not that long, I will kind of veer off a little bit, but I still will do way better if I can kind of improvise than try and prep everything.
Yeah, and that really helps us like with RP and like like D&D. Like Jada just said, Nick's hella good at RP. Insane people.
well,
But
maybe
it's just like,
it's not much of a stretch, no. Jay.
but it's just like, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Like that stuff helps. Like being able to take a moment that's either like foreign to you or something like that, and just being able to, haha, you know, that kind of moment. So and I think because especially y'all play more D&D than I do, as like I think it's not only useful, but I think it makes things more fun. Like being able to do that, which again, kind of rounding this back to near the beginning. Again, why I'm worried about the D&D movie.
We made it back.
Full
Circle.
Mostly circle. Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
this.
I honestly practice my RPing while driving a lot. And so like I'm like, if someone's like looking in the rearview mirror at me, like they're like, that person's insane.
I do it at work, which I had to do the other day at work. I had some we work on like this commercial job, so there's a bunch of other trades in there, and I had the HVAC guys. They were fully convinced I was Australian, like because I'll assume a character, like I'll do the same voice, but I'll assume a different character. But I will talk, which probably drives my coworkers insane, but I will talk to them in that character all day long, which is probably really insane.
Yeah.
But like I always be like, "Oh, Rob, did you hang the piece of drywall yet?" And he's like, "We just talk normal." I was like, "I don't know what you mean. I'm talking normal. Why are you being such a jagger?" Or like I'll make up some word like jagger, which isn't a word. Like, but just I'll just be that character all day long, and then finally like I'll have to break character for some reason, and then they'll just like be like,
We hate you.
Yeah. "You're the worst human."
Nah,
But sometimes they'll speak in accents back to me though. Like they'll just start doing it, and I'll be like, "What are you doing?" And they're like, "I don't know. You're doing it." So like, yeah.
No, the thing I practice in car rides is how many times and how many useful situations I can say the F word. That's what I practice when I'm driving. Guy gets in front of me in like a very dangerous situation.
What the is wrong with you?
Why would you do that?
This is how me and Mano are gonna curse on this podcast. We're just gonna censor ourselves.
Yeah, it's just gonna be like an implied.
Like a couple of weirdos.
Yeah, right there.
So that way Nick can just still beep it if he wants.
I have tried so
we're live.
hard.
We're live.
Well, I meant like if
Right.
for the VOD.
So hard not to curse this whole time. And I think
Yeah.
I've done a pretty
You've
good
done
job.
a good job.
I've
You
said-
both have.
I
said
caught
it
myself once.
I think I said one thing. I think I'm doing great.
We're doing great.
Good job, guys.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you. It's. Oh.
Yeah.
No, I've seen Nick
It's a
is.
little bit lower. I don't know why I'm
We're still on
like,
this.
Like, oh, you should be like there. That's perfect.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Good grief. Talking about getting distracted.
We have to get good at that.
I was
so we
looking
can do
down at my
random.
die, and I was thinking about the thing I was gonna say, and I started to speak, and you didn't. Neither of you listened because you were still trying to find the high five spot. I was like, "Oh, I'm not here right now. No one exists to them at this moment."
No, we're getting the high five off.
Yeah.
To go back to what you said. Okay. Well.
Alright, now you get back in that chair and you talk.
You talk and you like it.
Make those words come out of your mouth.
Yeah, English.
Did you drink my ginger?
I have a lot of things. I don't have anything. I had ginger ale.
Nobody else drinks it.
All right.
No.
To go back to what you were saying about, I don't know if I can remember now, our improvisation, how it makes everything funnier and better. I think a good example of that is, I'm so excited that you're in our campaign right now for how many episodes it's going to be, but we had that moment where you were talking about your bird, Falca, and you're like, oh, where is Falca? And I'm like,
Yeah.
he's right there. And then you go, oh, thank. And then I'm just like, let's see what he does. And I was like, oh no, that's an eagle. And then you're just like, oh yeah, that get very confusing. Like we just had that moment where I was like, yeah, I love it whenever I'll do something like that, and instead of someone just laughing at, oh, that's funny that he did that, they like will add to it.
Yeah.
And make it like that's kind of what happened in that situation with the belt. Like I cut the belt off and I could have been like, oh, they make these things so cheap these days, and that would have been like, oh, ha ha ha. But it was even better because then he was like, oh yeah, I probably made it in China, or like whatever that he said. But it's just like, yes, the banter, I love it. And I was gonna say too, I've seen you. I remember the first time I played DnD, and I only played a couple of sessions, but like seeing you then versus now, your RP has gotten really, really good. Because that was something I think was always weak for you, and it was only because I think it just, you felt really out of like uncomfortable with it.
I've been playing D&D for like 6 years now.
Yeah.
Like I've had to build into it. It was because it wasn't something I was naturally. Like, I'm not a people person.
Right.
So I had to work towards that.
Yeah. And, like, I mean, it went from, like, you would never have done it when you first started. Like, you will have situations where you'll flirt with your characters, you know, as the DM. Ooh, yeah. But, like, Nick never would have done that. I think I even tried sometimes, and he would just be like, she blushes. Like, no, you're blushing.
There was definitely some of that early on where, like, you would try, and I'll be like, I don't know if I'm there yet.
Yeah.
But
he is now.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that adds to it. I think it's fun. Yeah. I think you got to make sure that all of your players are comfortable with it.
Exactly.
So,
that's the important part of like session 0, though, is like getting all that out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
although I don't know that I don't know that Jay and I really cleared that with you guys as far as like our characters' relationship in Loot Risk's game, but I mean, you guys seem fine with it, so it's okay. We did. I mean, and now we did like make sure that like that all of our like spouses and stuff were okay with it. We're like,
now we have Sarah and Loot Risk are doing the same thing.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, which is awesome.
Yeah. I mean, don't mind me none.
Yeah,
I don't care at all. Huh?
Right, exactly. So. But yeah, if it makes people feel uncomfortable, then like don't do it.
I'm very protective of him, so it was hard for me to get through at first. But I'm okay.
Oh, okay. You want to kiss right now? Not him!
Oh my God! How dare you!
In front of me?
A kiss, BD.
Oh,
BD.
It's all the love.
Hey, screw you, BD, and your helpful maps.
Don't be so mean.
Hey, tell me when you cannot see my hand in the picture.
No, you're going way far.
It's
just go under.
Go over here.
Just go beside the silver.
Right here?
There you go.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's perfect, actually. Actually, could you lower it a little more?
That's what I was doing.
Lower it. No, bring it back. Bring it back. Bring it back down. All the way. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going!
I didn't say stop!
I was just trying to wait till you were out of the picture.
I know. Like, I wanted to go with the bit, but I was also really fat, and I didn't want to go.
You're not really fat. I am the heaviest person here right now.
We did just all weigh ourselves.
I'm like by 2 pounds.
I'm very out of shape.
But I'm the heaviest.
I'm very out of shape.
Hey, I'm not the most in shape.
Yeah, but I didn't tell you to get on the floor. Oh, okay. Just to prove me wrong. He's like, I'm gonna stay down here for the rest of the day.
Just completely committed and lay down on the floor.
I'm high.
Well, crap, I keep hitting the table. Sorry.
Yeah, keep hitting the table.
Hey, be nice.
Be nice. But yeah, I think I talked a lot.
My bad.
You're doing so good.
Hey, twice in
Hey,
2
I'm real
hours and
proud of
30
you.
minutes. I'm real proud of me too.
All right.
Hey, look at us. Look at us.
No. I'm not looking at us. I gotta block this side too.
Hey, we're nothing of note.
Thanks for joining us.
Oh, are we ending?
Are we?
2 hours, 30 minutes? If we wait like 40 minutes, it's like actually 2 hours 30. So.
Wait. That,
What did you just say?
you said 2 hour 30 minute, but if we wait 40 minutes, then it's
I meant 40
actually.
seconds.
Oh,
I was so
I was
confused.
like, that math does not
I
check
was like,
out.
you're being really
Check out this
optimistic.
math right now. Here's 2 for you.
Oh, he gave us this
1
again.
plus 1. Oh, did you know that? Did I tell you about that? Like, that's the English equivalent of this?
Oh yeah. I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Yeah, there's a historical story behind it. So this,
Why don't you tell it? Yeah.
right, is the, so, according to legend, right, the Battle of Agincourt, won by the English longbowmen. The French knights come in, and it's all, like, soggy and stuff, so they slow down on their charge, so it can't be, like, this momentous occasion to push through. And the English archers are able to get really good and consistent shots through. And so the English win, even though they're outnumbered by quite a bit, and they have, you know, less knights and stuff. Like, everything's against them, right? So the French start adopting this tactic or this ability where it's like, if they capture a longbowman, they're taking their 2 fingers.
Oh.
Because that way they can't draw
Wow.
the bow, right? And so then it started coming to a thing where the English before the battle would start come and take them, right? Come
Yeah.
get them.
That's cool.
And so that eventually came to like
Bring it.
the F off sign and like in English.
Listen to yourself.
Hey, I did.
What's wrong with
So
you?
this
Such a
this
fun
is
bit.
like, now mind you, Americans typically don't know that, so we'll be like deuces.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's about intention, right? If you're just
Yeah.
like like that's obviously something.
Oh yeah, I feel bad. I've definitely been on Omegle before and talked to British people. I've been like, when I was going, I always do that.
They don't care about that because that's obviously like it's that.
I usually do the
It's
shake
fine.
too. I don't know why, but I'm like,
Yeah. I like doing.
Yeah.
Doing
I just never makes sense to me because this I always say peace out, but like this
Yeah.
is just hang loose. So I guess it still works, but like
I don't say anything. I just make the sign.
Same, yeah.
I'm just like
yeah, I mean, if I'm saying bye, I'll be like, see ya. Hang loose.
it took me everything not to just end the stream right there when all 3 of us did that. It's like I don't say bye. I just
Yeah.
every part of me wanted to be like boom.
That is how we have to end the stream, though. We always have to be like,
Is that-
not saying
is that how
no.
you do it.
no, 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 no.